Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast, we have your Extreme Rules recap. Brock Lesnar shows back up. Gallows and Anderson show up on Raw. We got a ROH title match on Dynamite. Okada, huge upset over Jonah. And Tinder Mahal is here to talk about the From Dusk Till Dawn event here in St. Louis, Missouri. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast.
All I can say is, people, buckle up. This one's going to be real interesting.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Marks, and welcome to the Banned from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Jack in the Squash. And sitting directly across from me, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
Oh, shit. I was going to do a little DX, but I'm just going to save that just for the sake of time. So I'll just cut to the chase. I'll just ask the congregation to bow their heads as I read from the latest edition of the Banned from Ringside podcast, volume 278. Chapter 3, verse 14 of the Good Smart saith, hashtag boo the heels, it's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat, the Holy Trinity of BFR. We got Tinder Mahal in the house. We're going to talk a little Dusk from Dawn, talk a little professional wrestling on top of that, and a whole bunch more. Like I said, I got an interesting feeling this is going to be a very intriguing show, to say the least.
And out there in Portland, Oregon, the Great Pacific Northwest of the United States of America, we have Two Beers. Zach Coleman, what's going on, Two Beer?
BFR Western House.
I'm feeling raunchier than the 2001 Raw, guys. I just hope that upset comment didn't get anybody too upset, especially our official New Japan Pro World.
Oh, yeah, he's the only one that likes it. He's the only one that likes it. And sitting right next to me, freezing his ass off in 60-degree weather, he had to borrow a hoodie from me. I'm out here in flip-flops. We have Tinder Mahal. Joey O'Farrell. What's going on, Joey O'Farrell?
Man, I cannot believe you guys have not been canceled yet. This is unbelievable.
So Joey is
True
here.
story, we have been marked on YouTube for a violation of their YouTube policies for explicit language.
Yeah, they're pussies. Vice is also hanging out in the background. We don't have enough equipment for him, but it is a party here tonight. Lots of stuff to talk about. Before we get too far into it, Joey O'Farrell, I'm going to use your professional name, your Christian name.
Government name.
He used to not let us use it on the podcast. We are going to be talking about the event that he is promoting, which is the From Dusk Till Dawn event, wrestling fun. It's going to be a fun show. We talked about it last week. It is going to be, well, I'll let him give you all the details. We are coming at you from gorgeous St. Charles, Missouri. The baby is asleep. The dog is going fucking nuts. There's too many fucking people here. The wife is at work for a minute. She's going to be gone for a while. There's a new challenge that started this week that I have DVR'd. It's just going to be, it's a hell of a night. And then I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 6:45 a.m. and be like, you did it again, Bill. Why'd you do it? You don't have to stay up that late. But without further ado, let's talk to Joey O'Farrell.
This is Banned from Ringside.
All right, so Joey O'Farrell, friend of the show, if not the fourth BFR member. Sorry about that, Murray man, but he was here first. You were the Pete Best. So Joey, the last. How would you describe the last show that you put on? Before we talk about From Dusk Till Dawn, which is the show coming up here next weekend, let's talk about Live at the Grandel, which we talked about last week on the podcast, which I feel, and I feel like I speak for everybody that went to the show, was a rousing success. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was, it was my first show, and we really did, you never really know how that stuff's going to go, but I picked the right talent for the most part, and it was great. Josh Alexander, Moose, Tennille Dashwood, Kalisto, West Coast Wrecking Crew, which I thought West Coast Wrecking Crew, New Japan World, Royce Isaacs, Jarrell Nelson, I thought they had the best match of the night.
Kind of stole the show.
With technical difficulties. I mean, really. So that's why I'm bringing it back for one more show.
There was not a bad match on the card. It was a fun event. What is going to make this one even better? And give us the deets.
Well, I think, with STO versus the World, it's more about STL competition versus the best in the world, and this is more loose. Like, so I wanted to do something that felt a little different because we're not your basic wrestling company where we're doing a show every month or every 2 months even or every 3 months even. Like, I want to do a couple events a year and have them be special and have them have the production and just be fun. And STL versus the World's more of like a serious event. So I wanted to do something that was more, as Chris Jericho says, sports entertainment.
Sure.
All kinds of fuckery going to be happening on Saturday night, huh?
But also, we try and keep the Grandel STL versus the World event. It's very exclusive. It's only the best talent in St. Louis. And there's a lot of talent in St. Louis. There's too much talent to fit on one show. So this is also a good opportunity for me to get some of the people that I wasn't able to put on that show on this show. And also, to bring in some of the best indie talent in the world. So with this show, I love Halloween. It's a great time to do something. Like, my favorite pay-per-view growing up was Halloween Havoc. I loved Halloween Havoc. When I go back and watch those were some of the most memorable matches / events I've ever seen. So I have a lot of people around me that are involved in the horror movie world. One of my favorite B movies ever is From Dusk Till Dawn. I think it's a great movie.
It's a banger.
Yeah. So
Selma Hayek.
Let me explain something. I know you guys understand this, but the venue that we're doing this at, Pop's Nightclub and Concerts, it's a very special place.
Oh, yes.
And
definitely.
It's when you think about it,
memories.
When you think about From Dusk Till Dawn, it's like you go into it's this fun kind of trucker bar, and it's very basic. It's kind of like Roadhouse. But then after a certain time, everybody turns into vampires and they eat the customers. Pops is kind of like that, you can go to a show there from 7 to midnight.
Mm-hmm.
It's normal.
Yes.
It's great, safe.
Yeah.
But after about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, when everybody starts coming over from the bars and getting rowdy, and it kind of becomes a whole other place.
I have a funny story about Pops.
I think we all do.
Pops is the kind of place. I've spent a weekend there one night. It's the type of place I've walked out of there with the sun coming up more times than I care to admit.
Yes,
it's also I think it's only closed 12 hours a year from noon on Christmas to midnight.
Now it's a little different because of COVID and everything has kind of changed that.
Gotcha.
But I think now they open from at 11 at night to I think 10 the next day.
That being said, I've seen Clutch there 4 or 5 times. I've seen Mastodon there twice. I've seen lots of good metal shows, but it's not necessarily a metal place. It's a great place that's on the east side. And for those of you from St. Louis, you know what Sauget is. One time we were walking in there, we were getting on the bachelor party, getting ready to go to the strip clubs.
Shocker.
And we were walking in. Can you two giggle monsters let us fucking have a professional conversation here? So we were walking into a bachelor party, and you had to walk through a metal detector, and they had plexiglass up before you could walk in. And a guy who was cousins with my buddy whose bachelor party he was like, "What kind of place is this?" And right when he said that, some chick shoved another chick's head right against the plexiglass, and she was smashed up against it. I was like, "It's this kind of place."
Well, let's I don't want to scare anybody. It's a very safe place.
You called it From Dusk Till Dawn.
It is From Dusk Till Dawn, but it's a very safe place until about 3 or 4 in the morning, and then things kind of change.
Yes, and this was at 2 a.m. when this happened. So this is not going to be when the show is. The show starts. The doors open at 6.
Yes.
Show starts at 7.
Give us 3 hours. We're done.
Yes. Be about a 3-hour show.
Be about a 3-hour show, and tell us about some of the talent that's going to be on the show.
So some of the talent, basically, this, like I said before, this is going to be an event. So we're gonna have dancing vampire girls. We're gonna have real pythons.
Yes.
We're gonna have Clownvis, who I don't know if people know who Clownvis is. You kind of talked about it a little bit. Clownvis is the ultimate entertainer. He travels all over the world. He's from here. He lives 15 minutes from Pops. He was excited to do this and come be a part of this.
A very unique, hilarious act.
And this isn't his first wrestling show. He's done other wrestling shows.
That doesn't surprise me at all. He is a very talented, very, very funny person, and the exact type of person that you want to host a wrestling show like this.
Thank you.
Bar none.
Absolutely.
The guy.
Yes.
You could bring in Martin Short and Steve Martin. I'd be like, get Clownvis instead.
And real quick, just in case people are wondering, he will be doing a few songs. So there will be some singing, some dancing. We're doing a lot of really fun stuff. We're gonna have sets. We're gonna have all the kind of like spooky decorations. So anyway, as far as the talent goes, to open the show, I'll give you a little sneak peek. We're gonna have two guys who are St. Louis guys who have never had a match with each other. That's Davey Vega, Spitfire Davey Vega, who wrestles everywhere, and one of the most popular wrestlers here, Mike Outlaw. So they're going to go out there, and I know they're going to have a banger match. We're bringing in Kaya McKenna from the East Coast. She's a Black and Brave student. She's been around for a few years, and she's just such a talented performer, a great person. I think people are going to be really wowed by her. And then, we're bringing back, like I said, Jarrell and Royce from West Coast Wrecking Crew, and they're going to have a match with Davey Richards and Rocky Romero. So that's going to be a fun time. Like you're talking about, two guys who were Ring of Honor champions, who were New Japan tag team champions.
I mean, Rocky Romero was just doing color commentary on the New Japan event that just happened on Monday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Declaration of Power.
He'll be at Pops in a week. There you go. And then, there's this guy out of he comes out of Booker T school. It's called Mysterious Q. And this guy he'll be in one of the big companies within the next year or two. He is a powerhouse, and he is one of the most athletic people I've ever seen. And he's going to go up against one of the most talented wrestlers in St. Louis right now. I'd say the hottest wrestler in St. Louis right now, in Camaro Jackson. They're going to have
Stud.
They're going to have a banger of a match, I'm sure. And then we got 2D Lynn versus Monique Jenkins. Monique she's been in NXT, she's been in NWA, she's done a lot of stuff. She hasn't been around this area though, and she is one bad sister. Like she is gonna take 2 to the limit for sure. Really excited about that one. And then our main event, we have two guys in our main event, Gary J and Thomas Shire. Everybody knows Gary J. Everybody knows what Gary J's been through. But these guys have had 3 or 4 matches where one guy's barely left the ring, barely left the building. He's been so injured. I mean, for God's sakes, Thomas threw Gary into the 3rd row on concrete.
For the people that don't know, though, what has Gary J been through?
I mean, think about somebody picking you up on their shoulders and twirling you around and throwing you 4 rows deep into a crowd and no one catching you and landing on the back of your head.
I feel like I do this with this podcast every single week. I put them on my shoulders, I twirl them around, I fucking toss them into. But yes, that is. Well, that's metaphorical though. It actually happened to Gary J.
Yeah, I mean you got two different guys who have kind of 2 different styles. Thomas was trained by Dory Funk Jr. He's got a very much like old school wrestling background, and Gary's more of a brawler that can go. But these guys, they're going to go out there and they're going to have a long wrestling match, and basically what a Texas Death Match is, which is what they're having, is a last man standing match.
Yep.
So. The last guy to answer the count, they'll fight until the guy can't answer the count of 10. So after the guy can't answer the count of 10, the match is over. I have no idea how Gary J will lose this match because that guy always gets up. He always seems like nothing hurts him, at least for an extended period of time. So I'm really excited for that one. And we're revamping a lot of these characters. A lot of these guys you're gonna see them, but it's not gonna be the person that you usually see. So
yeah,
we're doing a lot of cool stuff with that, with the characters, and trying to think what else is on the card. Dak Draper versus Moses. Dak's in NWA right now. He was in Ring of Honor for a while. He's a great guy, just a powerhouse dude. Can go. There's a lot of good stuff on this card. We got a lot of matches on this card.
So you called the guy that came from Booker T's school. What's his name again?
Mysterious Q.
You said he's the most athletic guy you've ever seen?
He's unbelievable.
Now, you've played softball with me.
Okay.
So, do you want to revamp that statement at all?
I don't think so.
I'll say stick to your guns, Joe. Don't back down.
No, but this guy is really great, and I'm really excited for people to see. And obviously one of my favorite guys too. I saw him a few years ago. He's out of Minnesota. His name's Josh C. And Josh C is one of the most charismatic wrestlers I've ever seen. Former Black Wrestlers Matter champion. He's kind of been around the world too. He's going to go up against what I think one of the up and coming guys in St. Louis wrestling, Raheem De La Suede, who is a very charismatic David Bowie type character. but can wrestle any style. He was in technical difficulties with Moses. We're splitting them up and giving those guys a chance to kind of go out there and see what kind of single stars they are.
Yeah, see what they can do. Now, I've never been to a wrestling show at Pops, but when you told me that this was going to be at Pops, I thought about it, and I was like, God damn, that's kind of the perfect place for a wrestling show because of the balcony that encircles 3/4 of the place for the stage.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been to Pops, so I got a phone call like 6 months ago from someone, and they said, hey, GCW wants to run Pops. Can you help us out? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So, we worked out the date. We got him in there. And I also work at Pops. I do, like, backstage production for all their concerts. So we got him in there, and they had a great show. It was a great setup. And nothing against them because they were coming in cold. They didn't know the venue.
GCW, you mean?
Yeah. But there is so much production there, and the people there care a lot. So I knew that, like, man, if we really take the time and, me knowing this place like I do, and they just put in like a $300,000 PA system, brand new.
I mean, I can attest to the production value at Pops because, like I said, Clutch plays there every time they come through. They're basically my favorite band. I have screamed them in your ear on the way back from the Kentucky Derby a couple times.
Yes.
And it's a second to none type of show. It is a fucking great production value, great sound. It's a great room, and like I said, it feels like it was made for a wrestling show.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times one thing that I always have going for me, and I try and get more and more knowledgeable as I go, is I really don't think like a wrestler. I think more like a production person. Like, I'm a wrestling fan, and I love wrestling, and I understand wrestling, but
I've heard that.
When it comes to the details of actually putting together a show or an event, there's so many things that people really don't think about, and I think about the fan first and what the fan would like to see and what would make them comfortable. And I think if you come to this show, you're gonna be like, wow, it's like the ultimate fan experience with what they're doing. And as we go along, everything's gonna get better with time. It's gonna get bigger. We appreciate everyone's support, but like, please understand, like, if you grow with us, there is really no end to what this could be. I mean, I want to keep making this bigger and bigger and bigger as we go. And everyone who's worked with us has wanted to come back and work with us and be a part of it. And I think if we can do a couple events a year and support the wrestling scene in St. Louis and even the Midwest, I think this could grow and become something really special.
Yeah, and I remember you and I talking privately after the STL versus the World, and you were telling me about all the talent that was there and how they all reached out to you afterwards, almost to a man or a woman, and said, yeah, I will work with you again. That's another thing that's kind of underrated about this, that's flying underneath the radar, at least for people that know you or know the scene, know the wrestling scene around here, is that you also got your first one under your belt, and it was a success. It fucking ruled. It was a really fun show, and you're only going to get better doing this also. And as your friend and as a fan, I'm excited to see this next one coming up, and it's on October the 22nd.
Correct.
Doors at 6, show at 7. It's going to be 3 hours. There's not going to be anybody throwing anybody against any plexiglass. No. There's not actually going to be any vampires.
No light tubes, yeah.
George Clooney might be there yelling at Harvey Keitel. Did I hear that right?
You never know, man.
Yeah, maybe a special guest referee or something.
Unconfirmed.
But yeah, that sounds awesome. So, Joey, give us one last sell. Give us all the deets one more time.
Sure. Saturday, October 22nd.
I guess I didn't say the prices. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. Saturday, October 22nd. There'll be seating available for everybody. I'm going to burp real quick. Hold on one second.
Unprofessional bullshit.
Man,
Got him.
That was a softball right
Yeah,
there.
it really was. It really was.
Softball.
Go ahead. Give it to us.
So Saturday, October 22nd at Pops. Tickets range from $25 to $35. So we made front row seats, balcony seats, super cheap. We're gonna have like 3 or 4 rows of seating, and then behind that we'll have like tables with bar stools. So everyone, if you want your own table, you can go for it. We're also gonna have, real quick before I forget this, we got a lot of great sponsors: Blue Duck, Terra Taco, Lucha Restaurant, Strange Donuts, and then we got some match sponsors as well. But Blue Duck is going to come into Pops and basically build a kitchen at Pops. So we're going to have really just amazing food there.
He's heating up.
We're going to have amazing food there. So it's like you're going to a wrestling event, but there's like basically like a nice restaurant inside of it.
Yeah, and it's Pops, so they have a full bar.
Yeah, they have a full bar, so you're good to go there.
Yep.
And then they, like I said, like the production there, the lighting, everything like that is just second to none. We've hired the best lighting people to come in, the best sound people to come in. Saturday, October 22nd, 6 p.m. to about, I'd say, show starts at 7, probably get over around 10:15.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a great time. It's going to be safe. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. I was messing around about Pops.
I know.
I'm not afraid to go there.
I know.
If I'm not afraid to go there, nobody else should be either.
I think it's a great way to spend your Halloween holiday, and I think everyone's going to really enjoy it and be surprised by some of the talent maybe they didn't know, but they're going to be really shocked how good these people are.
And if you see any of the BFR boys there, come say hello, because Two Beer Zach's going to be in town, and Jason and I will both be there too. So
I got to ask you guys real quick, Two Beer, you two, is there like a match you're looking forward to on the show that you're excited about?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to West Coast Wrecking Crew again, but I'm looking forward to the Quadfather.
You said Mysterious Q is like the next coming. So, I mean, for somebody to say something like that for the wrestling that you watched that we've discussed, past, present, okay, I mean, you've set that bar pretty high. So, for at that point, yeah, my antenna is up for Mysterious Q for sure.
Before Zach answers, can this Mysterious Q, do you think he could pitch a softball and hit the mat behind the plate? You think he could do that?
I think he could probably do a backflip at the same time. Yeah.
Oh. What are you looking forward to, Zach?
No, he's on the roster. No, he's really on the roster.
Zach, what are you looking forward to?
I'm going to be spending the day at my former employer and close personal friends at Forehand Spring. They were a sponsor of the Grandel, live at Grandel. So I'm going to be pretty lit, and I am going to be so stoked to watch this deathmatch main event. A pure spectacle. It's going to be good. But I literally just bought tickets while you guys talked about it. It was painless, super easy. We're BFR boys are going to be sitting in the front row balcony. So just go out and get your tickets.
So anyway, I'm excited to see all you guys there. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of entertainment with Clovis and just the whole scene, the whole vampire scene. Actually, one last thing, I had a 8-foot double-sided coffin built for this. So when the wrestlers come out, the doors will be opened by the vampire girls, and the wrestlers will walk through a big 8-foot coffin.
That's what's up.
So,
that's what's up. That's my dog,
Are
Joey
these
O'Farrell.
vampire girls single?
Hey, man.
Because Zach is not.
They're vampires,
They're vampires.
Whatever
that means.
But anyway,
I'm shooting my
excited.
shot on the 22nd.
Real quick, Mysterious Q. Go online, go to Twitter, Instagram, check him out. He's incredible.
And is there a Twitter handle or a website that they can go to? Where should they buy tickets?
Oh, popsrocks.com.
Popsrocks.com.
Yep.
You heard it here. Joey O'Farrell, thanks you
guys.
so
Appreciate
much for showing up. And, we're going to look. I'm looking forward to it. It is a week from this Saturday. And like I said, the BFR boys will be there. So thanks, Joey.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Without further ado, let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
All right, JCB, kick us off.
Hang on. Sorry, I was just paying Zach for the tickets. All right, good to go. So we're going to start with Extreme Rules on Saturday night in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I thought this was an interesting card. We talked about it, obviously, last week. Made the predictions last week. Do you want to talk about last week's predictions now? You want to wait?
No, let's wait. I got to find them. Go ahead.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 show card. For me, the biggest takeaway from this is probably the I Quit match. I'm not saying it was the best match, but it was probably the biggest takeaway. Kudos to Bill for calling the finish. Didn't think it wasn't going to be that kind of a way, but once he said it, and I saw Beth Phoenix come out, I'm like, son of a bitch, this dude's going to be right.
I think that was the same prediction where I go, listen, my predictions are never right, so don't listen to me. And I finally nailed one exactly.
I'm like, son of a bitch, he's right. So, obviously, Finn Balor wins the I Quit match over Edge, using Beth Phoenix as the threatening prop, so to speak. If you don't quit, we're going to fuck Beth Phoenix up. So, obviously, Edge does the chivalrous thing. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, while Rhea Ripley's holding the chair in my hand, I'm like, Now, what you should do is just go ahead and hit her with it. Next thing you know, Rhea Ripley was like, what? I was like, yes, thank you. It is now perfect. As much as I was not even a real huge fan of Judgment Day, not even a lot of interest in Judgment Day, now it's come around to the point where they have made them at least viable. Dominic Mysterio, too. I know he gets a lot of heat. You know, he can't act. He can't wrestle, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's giving. If you didn't care, you wouldn't probably talk about Dominic Mysterio. But guess what? You're running him down so you can hear a little bit of something. For me, I'll say the best match, my favorite match, was the opening match, the curtain jerker.
Yep. Imperium
versus the Braun Brutes. I know they called this, old-fashioned Donnybrook match. I don't care what you call this. Somebody's getting their ass kicked match. It's called for like a Mark Henry throwback match. This was as physical of a match as the match was on Friday night on SmackDown. The match at Clash of the Castle, same way. Just in this scenario, it was 3 guys versus the one-on-one. It almost made me wish there was trios titles in WWE, but that's just me being greedy because I like these 6 guys in the ring. And I think nobody really cares about, the physical well-being. They're just out there to try to steal the show. I'm not saying that Sheamus puts on 5-star banger after banger after banger matches, but the track record kind of speaks for itself, at least as of late with Gunther/Walter. From there, just quick rundown from the card. I'll let you guys take it from there. Obviously, Ronda beats Liv. Karrion Kross beats Drew McIntyre. Bianca Belair retains. And then in the main event, Riddle versus Seth Rollins. Riddle beats Seth Rollins. The leap off the catwalk, for lack of a better term. I thought it was going to be Seth Rollins doing that crazy shit. When Matt Riddle landed on Seth and he hit the ribs, I was just like, ugh, no way. This is where this match is going to end. That looked painful as fuck, as anything I've ever seen in my life. Seth Rollins takes the fall, but obviously we'll be talking about Seth Rollins a little later on. Two Beer, what'd you think?
Overall, it was a solid show. I was originally not going to be able to watch it live, but plans were canceled, which is my favorite thing to do. And we ended up being able to watch this.
Canceling plans are your favorite thing to do?
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing better.
It's just such dopamine.
Married men.
Nothing better than when you have something to do and then they're like, somebody's like, you know what? You don't have to do this anymore. It's like, oh, fuck yeah. Sweat's on.
So good. I had a fun time with it. As far as matches, the Donnybrook was great. I would definitely recommend folks watching that if they didn't watch the show. And I loved the angle of Edge versus Finn, but the match itself was kind of boring until the interference happened, and then it got really good because it was just all about the angle, and everybody played their parts so well. Rhea Ripley is so good. I'll give kudos to Bill because this is like a thought that I hadn't had, but it's absolutely perfect. Like what she is doing right now is she's like in main event angles and she's an integral part of the television, but she's like fully separated from the women's division. And it's great because she's so dominant and she's such a character that she's getting over to the audience. And when she does set her sights on that instead of Dominic Mysterio, it's going to be that much better, not just for like the fans of Rhea Ripley from NXT. It's going to be fantastic for the audience at large because people are going to be behind Rhea even though she's a super heel. But I love that angle. I like the Bray Wyatt return. Interested to see where it goes. They didn't do anything Monday. We're going to have to wait till Friday.
I totally forgot about that, yeah.
I was going to say.
I'm just, okay, well then I was thinking about that. No, I was thinking about that on the way here, and this is why I totally forgot about that. I'm not nearly as invested as others are in Bray, even with this White Rabbit gimmick that they had for his return. The last memories I had of Bray are not very positive by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not sure what we're getting coming up. So for me, it's something it already has a negative connotation coming in, and you're not giving me anything right now to make me think otherwise. So it makes me want to see Bray. Apparently he's going to be on SmackDown, so that's going to be his home for Friday nights. So at that point, like I said, we'll see what happens. I'm willing to give it a chance this second time around under Triple H because for the most part, he's gotten things right. Just like I said, for me, that's why I forgot about it. Don't get me wrong. Great presentation per usual. You know, they did it right. But I'm just not excited moving forward about Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. We'll just see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, my biggest takeaway was my favorite match was the Brutes versus Imperium at the beginning. Loved it. Also loved Gunther and Sheamus Friday night on SmackDown.
Woo!
Yeah.
They have tremendous chemistry. We talked about it last week. I think that the I Quit match was really good. It was predictable from my end because I predicted it. That's not me bragging, but that doesn't mean that's not a well-told story. Dominic Mysterio is getting so much heat, like just fucking nuclear heat from the crowds these days, and it is really fun to see because you could see something kind of click in him Saturday night. At least maybe you could see it before, but maybe I wasn't paying as much attention. But I was sitting there Saturday night watching it live by myself, and you could see something click within him where he's like, oh, he knows how to draw heat. And then Monday night, he was kind of playing the audience like a fucking fiddle. So good on him. That is very much fun to see. I really liked McIntyre versus Cross. I had a couple posts on Facebook or Twitter talking about how I'm not a real big fan of I Quit matches. I don't really like last man standing matches, but I really like strap matches for some reason. I think that something about them being connected by the strap is really fun to me, and I enjoyed that. I like the Fight Pit match. I mean, there was nothing that I really loved except for maybe the first match. The Fight Pit match was good. I don't know why they got Carl Winslow from Family Matters to referee the match, but
no,
I thought that he did a good job.
No, man.
Listen, you can say what you want about Daniel Cormier, but he did not look like he was ready to get in the ring.
Look, I mean, the man's retired, right? He's a UFC Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what? I mean, does referees have to be in shape?
No, but I thought I expected Daniel Cormier to be in a little bit better shape. He did not.
Look,
he looked like Carl Winslow.
I thought that he would get physical, and I thought that they would lead to something for like Mania or the Rumble or something.
No, and they saw him walk in. He looked like Reginald Van Johnson, and they were like, "We're not." So like, okay, hey man, go do the reffing thing, and then that's fine. I bet he's older than Carl Winslow was when Family Matters started. I'm gonna look it up.
Wow, this motherfucker here. Okay, so just for the record, it's Eddie Kingston, Sammy Guevara, and now Daniel Cormier. So if this motherfucker comes up missing, that's your first three top contenders.
Daniel Cormier is the only one that could beat my ass.
At least he put respect on his name. I guess the one match we really haven't talked about, and for whatever reason, I'll let you guys decide on it, is the women's match between Ronda and Liv. Obviously, Ronda goes over by submission. Liv passes out with smile on said face. Hold on. What you mean? Why are you giving me that look?
That was my Stone Cold Lead Pipe Block of the Week.
Okay, now see, hang on.
All I did was make a face. Like you're like my wife. Like if I make a face, you don't have to comment on it. You could just look at my face.
Like when I would do a face the same way, you would do the same thing. Oh, Jason's making this face over here, so we'll get to him in a second.
I'd probably finish my sentence.
Okay, well see, look, I ain't you. All right, see, I drive this car differently. Anyway, my point being is the lead pipe block of the week needs to not be changed at the 23rd hour, okay? If it's going to be the lead pipe block of the week, then make it the lead pipe block of the week.
I'm going to replace one of these. I'm going to replace one of these drops with just like a door slamming shut. Like a big-time steel door just being like, chink!
Shut the fuck up. 2, obviously, it should have been a match that was predictable. I picked Liv just to be contrarian, and you guys laughed in my face. That's okay. I'm a big boy. I can take it. Liv Morgan has no problem with no business winning a match of this scenario. When you snatch the bat out of Liv Morgan's hands, that was pretty much the precursor of things to come, which it was. The tap out was a little nasty. Liv pass out with smile and sad face. So I guess at the end where you see all the Bray Wyatt characters, Liv Morgan is rumored to be one of the Wyatt Six. Are you interested to see Liv Morgan now flip to be one of the Wyatt Six?
Hold on. Before we get there, before you answer, Zach, and I'll let you go first because I'm going to go check on the baby. Daniel Cormier is 43 years old. Reginald Vell Johnson, who played Carl Winslow, was 37 when Family Matters started. So actually, calling Daniel Cormier Uncle Carl Winslow is an insult to Reginald Vell Johnson. Long live Die Hard. I'll be right back.
This motherfucker here. I swear.
As far as
you should see him, he's like walking in the house, pumping his fists up in the air, like, yes, I win again.
Oh man. So as far as interest in the Wyatt thing, sure, she's married to Bo Dallas, who's also rumored to be back. He's Bray Wyatt's brother. So that makes sense.
I did know that.
Yeah, it's like a total mismatch. At least for me. I don't know. But
good on Bo Dallas. I ain't mad at you.
Good for him. Good for him. But it's fine. Let's see what happens as far as Bray's creative stuff, and his creative stuff is always good and entertaining. I'm not worried about that. It's really the booking that has been questionable, and he's not in control of that, and Hunter's in control of that. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so hang on. Let's stop there for a second because I was thinking about that too. If you had the pencil, are you booking him super strong like The Fiend, or are you just booking him strong where he wins a majority of matches, loses here or there? Is he a world title contender? Is he mid-card? What would you do with pencil in hand?
I mean, he's definitely not mid-card. The pop that he got was not just a return pop. Like, people see Bray Wyatt as a big star, and I'm sure he's getting a big paycheck. So I think the dude's absolutely a main eventer. But I would not book him like The Fiend. The Fiend killed everybody that he came across, with maybe the exception of Daniel Bryan, because Daniel Bryan's Daniel Bryan. They have that awesome strap match.
He's pretty fucking over.
Yeah, everybody else ended up worse. And actually, I saw an interview with Seth Rollins where he said exactly that. He was like, everybody that faced Bray ended up worse for it. I wasn't the only one. But Seth Rollins is the most notable because it was the biggest downgrade. I mean, Seth was like top guy, main eventer, and he got knocked down so far, and he's still like that guy. But, then it took 2.5 years for him to even he just got the U.S. title. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
It was like 900 some days or some crazy shit where he hadn't had a title. I was like, Jesus Christ, that's ridiculous.
And then he followed up that loss and him crying in the corner with like his worst gimmick of his career, of the career I've seen of him, which is the Monday Night Messiah. Terrible, uninteresting. During the height of the pandemic, empty crowds, it was just not good. But yeah, so I wouldn't book him as strong as The Fiend. But yeah, I mean, like, protect him. He's a big star. I'm interested to see how it goes, especially considering, you say main event, but there's only one guy that has the main event belt. So what do you do with that?
If you had the pencil, how would you book Bray Wyatt?
I mean, you put him in.
No. Bill just got back. I'm sorry. I should have said that Bill just got back.
Did Tubi already answer this question?
Yes. Is he a main eventer? Is he a mid-card guy? Are you pushing?
Well, I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what.
Is he pushed strong like The Fiend? Are you?
It kind of depends on what his character is going to be. Like, I know they're talking about the Wyatt Six, so all the characters they showed are going to be part of his team or something. All right, I'm just going to speak from my heart, okay?
Please.
I'm so skeptical of how this is going to work this time. And maybe having Hunter in charge instead of Vince gives me a little glimmer of hope. But when he came out and they started and they had like the distorted Firefly Funhouse music, and then they were like showing people standing around the arena in costumes, I was just kind of like we're going back to this. It just seems, maybe I have a bad taste in my mouth because it happened during the pandemic, most of it, and like everything from that era. Like really, when you think back to like empty arena wrestling shows, it's just such a fucking bummer. It's like, I just wish it didn't happen. Like, I don't want to see COVID in my TV shows. I don't want to see fucking COVID in my movies. I don't feel like thinking about that era. And I would rather him come back and try something maybe not so different. Because maybe the key to doing something innovative in wrestling is to not go so far off the fucking beaten path. Maybe it's just to tweak it just a little bit. Maybe to turn 30% instead of turning 90%. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it really depends on how he wants, I mean, the first thing I'd do is I'd have him take over Maximum Male Models. And I would.
This is not a bad idea.
It's actually not a bad idea. I was just joking, but it could work. I don't know. That's the thing. It's like Bray Wyatt. It's like he sits outside of everything else that's fucking normal. It's like, okay, so this guy rises from the dead. He's got all these supernatural powers, but he can't show up on Raw because he's got a SmackDown contract. It's like, it doesn't exist in the fucking real world in the real quote unquote world of professional wrestling. And I get totally on a shoot level why they want to save him for Fox. I just want to see the dude wrestle. I don't want to see him wrestle in a mask. I don't really need Firefly Funhouse stuff. We've been through all of that. I just want to see him wrestle. I just want to see the guy wrestle. That's why
I think there's a possibility that this was. I think it's like, I think they're going to try to do something fresh, but you do have all of that marketing built in. So just having those individual characters, tying it back in, and those are very marketable. It's all about branding and like selling shit. I think that you can do something, but I agree that as much as I love Firefly Funhouse and I thought it was entertaining, it's like, let's see him wrestle and not be the Fiend. No red light, no mask.
Right.
Let's just see him wrestle.
Like the QR code stuff and the Easter eggs in it and everything, that's totally fun for a return. But ultimately, you have Wyndham Rotunda coming back, and he's going to have to wrestle in matches. He's going to have feuds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a television show. It's not a fantasy show. It's not Lost or something. Like, you have to have this guy wrestle in a ring because he's not going to have cinematic matches the entire time. Even though I loved the whatever match that was that was the pandemic WrestleMania.
John Cena.
Yeah, it was really cool. It also didn't make any sense. And if they would have done it, I mean, it made sense, but if they would have done it during a normal WrestleMania year, I would have been like, what the fuck is this shit? Put him in the ring. I want to see him fake fight somebody, and I want to see somebody go over. So that's a long way to not answer your question. What would I have him do? I would have him, I mean, who would even go after? I guess he's got to go after some sort of...
The guy that beat him for the title?
Who was that, Goldberg?
Roman Reigns?
I mean, I don't want to see him against Roman Reigns. I don't want to see him against Roman Reigns because the Bloodline act as it is now has a borderline comedy element to it, and I'm not saying that as a pejorative. I am saying that it is working, but it is funny. It is very entertaining, and yet I take them seriously as a badass crew that could beat anybody. And to throw Bray Wyatt and his supernatural bullshit into the middle of it would just really throw a wrench in it without them like completely exposing it for what it is, which is silly. Like it takes I'm sorry.
Supernatural bullshit.
it takes like
I was thinking it.
It takes so much, like it really does. It takes so much suspension of disbelief to be an adult wrestling fan as it is. And then you throw Bray Wyatt into it. I'll be honest, I'm just not that excited about it. I would have been happier. I also think that it kind of pulled the rug out from under how good of a match the Fight Pit was. To have him just come out and like not be in an angle, but he's just going to come out. I don't know. I know that I'm in a minority because I know everybody was super pumped for it. I know the place went fucking bonkers for it.
I was like, please, I hope he doesn't come out. Shit, drag this shit out another week so motherfuckers can get mad.
I just thought it was fine. I don't know what you would do with him. I think they booked themselves into a corner by having him do this shit at all.
Last question. So, obviously, Survivor Series is coming up. The rumor now is one of the possible matches is Bloodline versus this Wyatt family, whatever you want to call them. We'll just call them the Wyatt Six to be just simple and plain. We'll start with Two Beer once again. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know who would be on the Wyatt Six team, but obviously it would be a 5-on-5 because obviously the Bloodline is 5 people. Roman Reigns obviously being in this, supposed scenario. Any interest in a 5-on-5 Survivor Series match with the Wyatt Six versus the Bloodline? Two Beer first.
I mean, as long as they put roaches on the ring with some kind of like projector.
See,
he's heating up.
I'm down.
Can't take this motherfucker no place. That's why we can't have nice things.
I can see, Bo Dallas is slated for return. You throw Braun Strowman in there, maybe even elevate it. I don't know what Randy Orton's injury situation is like, but he's probably coming back from Riddle. But if you wanted to, he was in that mix. But probably Liv and Alexa being like the Sherry Moon zombies of the situation, but they wouldn't be in that match. But you could tie some stuff together. I don't know historically if there's anybody else. Maybe bring back Eric Redbeard for a one-off. I don't know. We can see. But I mean, that sounds like a fine Survivor Series match. But I kind of agree with Bill in the sense that Bloodline is the best thing in WWE, and I don't know if that meshes very well at all. But we'll see how it goes.
Me next?
I think that's the biggest thing is we'll see. But yeah, as far as matches like on Extreme Rules, we didn't talk about the women's matches. I don't think either of them were any good. I didn't think Liv and Ronda was going to be good anyway. And it wasn't. It was sloppy. They were like constantly just messing shit up. Ronda's hitting her with this bat over and over again. And you talk about suspension of disbelief. It's like, dude, like you get hit with a bat 4 times. Like you're going to be on the ground, black and blue. But she was just pulling her punches so much. She was hitting her right in the ass with it, which don't get me wrong. I'm getting a lot out of that. It's $4.99 on Peacock, and I can just turn to it anytime I want, and I want to often. But it was just not good. Go ahead.
I'll speak to the women's match first. I'll answer Jason's question. Am I down with a Survivor Series match between the Bloodline and the Wyatt Six or whatever? Yes, I would be down for any Survivor Series style match at Survivor Series if it is a Survivor Series style match. I want them to have all sorts of them. I want them to have the fucking Hurt Business get back together and have Omos join them. Fuck it. Like, let's fucking go for it. Let's have some fucking factions. That being said, first of all, Jason, what do you think about the Wyatt Six versus the Bloodline? Would you be interested in seeing that? And then I'll talk about Liv Ronda.
They would have to connect the dots for me, and when I say connect the dots, remind the public that once upon a time, not long ago, The Fiend was the world champion, and when Roman Reigns came back, he took it from The Fiend. Now, I don't care if it's The Fiend or Bray Wyatt or whatever manifestation thereof, that needs to be discussed, number one, if you're going to have these two cross paths again. Now, how you want to do it, I don't necessarily care. You can have, after the Logan Paul match over in Riyadh, you can do it there if you want to, have them cross paths that way and then build it up to the Survivor Series match. It's just, for me, like I said, I'm not a huge Bray Wyatt guy right now. And it just goes back to the WrestleMania match. The last time I saw it, it left a bad taste in my mouth. The little that we got from Raw didn't give much clarity. I would hope that SmackDown gives us a little more of a nugget to kind of see where we're going moving forward. It's only shit. I mean, we're like a month away from Survivor Series. Realistically, now that if you start to think about it, it's what the 12th to 13th. So I mean, yeah, we're about a month away. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen pretty quick. It's going to start moving in the next couple weeks. If it happens, I'll be interested. I'll be at least intrigued. I'm going to watch because, I mean, I'm with you guys. The Bloodline is the reason why I watch WWE for the most part. There's other great talent on there, but to me, I was always a Roman Reigns guy once he flipped heel. Adding Sami Zayn to the mix is Comedy Central. Solo Sikoa as the Enforcer just gives it more of a true faction feel. So for me, yeah, I would watch it. I just, like I said, I'm with Bill on this one. I need to know which Bray Wyatt I guess we're getting to see first.
It sounds like everybody's with Bill on this one. Sounds like we're all together on this one. Not everybody's with Bill. We're all on the same page about this, which is rare. In terms of the Liv Ronda match, I mean, it was fine. I mean, it wasn't very good. It didn't really hold my interest. Bianca Bayley was a lot better. Bianca going over strong was something I didn't expect to see, but something that I liked. It reminded me of when Roman Reigns stacked Daniel Bryan and Edge on top of each other. It's like, okay, this is my champion, and I'm going to have my champion go over strong. Now, it looks like, as far as Raw goes, that they're not done with that feud, which is something I'm not very into. If she goes over that strong, then Bayley should be out of there, like kayfabe style. But Ronda, Liv Morgan, it's like get them both off my television. Ronda Rousey half-asses it, and I don't know if that's her whole ass, then it's not good. Liv Morgan should not be at the top of the card when it comes to women's. She never should have had the title in the first place. I am well documented on this, and I haven't changed my mind, and I'm the type of guy that will admit when he's wrong. I'm going to say here, I was right the entire time. Liv Morgan never should have had the belt.
It was an experiment. Now, well, look, we always give WWE shit about, they never try anything. They should do this. They should give this person a chance, give that person a chance. They gave Liv Morgan a chance. And for whatever reason, it didn't work. For me, I'll just speak for myself. Ronda Rousey's the worst opponent that you could probably have her going up against
no
immediately.
Doubt.
Because
Absolutely.
it doesn't, it's not, I'm with Bill. I can only suspend disbelief for so long. If you built up to Ronda Rousey, if Ronda Rousey was basically the final boss, and even though Liv was the champ, she was, beating people, getting stronger, building her up as a character in the ring, and then Ronda Rousey came over after like 3 or 4 months and took the title away, okay, you might have something to work with. But for whatever reason, it didn't work. Like I said, for me, I couldn't believe in any form or fashion that Ronda Rousey could be losing to Liv Morgan.
All right.
I didn't love the Bianca Bayley match. I thought that match was going to rule, but I think it being a ladder match just made it worse.
You know what?
No, I liked it. I liked it.
You know what? I mean, Zach's right. It wasn't the greatest match. I did like the finish. I like that Bianca went over.
The finish was awesome.
I like that Bianca went over strong.
Point of fact, point being, like, remember, like, Bianca was, like, over the corner setting up a ladder, like, on its side, all weird, and then just, like, went over and did her finishing move with Bayley holding a ladder, which was awesome, and then didn't do anything with this ladder that she had spent like a couple minutes like setting up awkwardly. That's what I mean. Yeah, in the sense that it wasn't as good of a match as like it could have been. But yeah,
it's bad storytelling.
It's just because they got to do these things. It's like, oh, it has to be a ladder match. Oh, the women haven't done a ladder match. We just have to do it to like check a box. It's like, no, man, like just give us a reason. I know it's Extreme Rules, but that's boring. So anyway, I just had to get that out there because I really enjoy both of those women, and I think they're amazing. They're, two of the best women wrestlers in the world, and it should have been better. And, they're out there, taking years off their career doing ladder shit for nothing. Nobody's going to remember that. Nobody's going to care. So anyway, go ahead.
What's your letter grade for the pay-per-view?
B-.
Agreed.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Jesus Christ, this is boring.
Think, Mark!
Let's get to that 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
I was about to say, I got the sneaky suspicion we ain't going to be agreeing for too much longer.
2 beer. What's the 2 count?
2 count. We can talk a little AEW. I didn't watch Battle of the Belts, and I don't think a lot of people did.
I watched it.
I have the card here. A couple of the matches look like they would have been good, particularly the trios match, Death Triangle versus Dark Order, and Pac versus Trent Beretta. That all sounds good and fine, but I don't know. AEW's got some work to do as far as some marquee matches on Rampage, and those Battle of the Belts things are supposed to be special, and it didn't feel special enough for me to tune in. I watched SmackDown, you know what I mean? So that is what it is. But if you guys have anything to say, I don't have anything for Rampage.
Nor do I.
Just because I watched it, the biggest thing that I took away from Rampage is the Death Triangle Dark Order main event. It started the week before, obviously, with Pac using the hammer, reinforced it here, triple down on it on the Battle of the Belts episode with him using it again to beat Trent. So by the time that Wednesday night comes around, it really felt like coming into the match you had a heelish, not even a heel Pac versus the babyface Orange Cassidy. From there, good to see FTR back on AEW television. Jade versus Willow, better than you might have thought. Anna and Ty Conte versus Madison J and Sky Blue, as bad as you might have thought. And then Tony Nese versus Varsity Blondes. It sets up the angle for Wednesday night's acclaimed spot with Mark Sterling. I think I covered it. Yeah, we covered it. So, BCC versus Roosh and Private Party, another Matt Hardy angle that popped up on Wednesday night as well. So, probably if you really like AEW watch, for me, it was just one of those weekends where I felt like I needed to watch just to be safe. And it made Wednesday night much easier to watch. Not saying that, if you only watch Wednesdays, like the majority of the times that we do, it's not easy to watch, but it just made, the background make more sense than it normally does.
Right on. It is just kind of a struggle. There's a lot of wrestling out there, and so I feel like I'm a broken record.
Tell me about
getting down on Rampage every week. But, they just need to bring more to the table if I'm going to tune in. And
it's not
an
like
hour
they got the roster.
Watch. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Although Jade versus Willow Nightingale was like the most intriguing to me that I didn't mention. I think Willow Nightingale. We asked who what do you do with Jade? When does she lose? I think Willow Nightingale might be the gal. She's got an organic following. People really like her, and like her promo on Dynamite where she's like, I'm going to keep trying and I'm going to keep trying. I think that's good. I think she could be the gal.
No, I totally agree. Willow reminds me of Bailey, NXT Bailey, plucky, fan favorite.
Kylie
Ray, good example. Yeah, same aspect where you have that plucky character that just, no matter what, I'm going to get knocked down, but I'm going to keep getting back up. That's Willow Nightingale to me in a nutshell. And I would have loved to, not maybe on that Friday night, but if there was someone, if they would have booked it in that manner, if there was someone that could have beat Jade, Willow Nightingale for me is at the top of the list. Obviously, this feels like this is going to be more for like I guess Chris Statlander, I guess was pegged to be the one until she got hurt. So I guess they're playing that the waiting game like with Tony Storm. We're waiting for Thunder Rosa to come back. Same thing with it feels like not as bad as Jade. Jade has the storyline where it just she's just dominating everybody in front of her, and that's a story that's obviously being told. No problem with that. But for me, like I said, with Tony Storm, it just really feels like we're waiting for Thunder Rosa to come back.
What they should do is they should have the exact spot for spot match with Willow Nightingale and Jade Cargill that the 1-2-3 Kid and Razor Ramon had, and she just goes over and is an instant star.
What for the title?
For the title, yeah.
If it was
that was a joke.
No, I was going to say,
but for real.
No, and I kind of thought it was a joke, but I was like, that actually could work. If people didn't know,
I don't know if you can moonsault.
I would put $50 on the fact that you could probably do it if given the opportunity. You give her like a couple of months to say, hey, we're going to give you the TBS title, but this is how you have to do it. I bet your ass she'll moonsault like a motherfucker. The only reason I hesitated because I was just like, is this a scenario where is she not big enough? I mean, like, not, I shouldn't say that. Is she not over enough? And she's over enough to where, people would pop, but it wouldn't be like, as crazy as the 1-2-3 Kid beating Razor Ramon, but it would still, do the job because people would lose their shit, but not nearly as big as that little scenario right there. I would love to see Willow Nightingale do it. I just don't think it's going to happen. Now it goes back to, it's either Chris Statlander or bust at this point.
We'll see, but somebody's got to take that thing off first. So
yeah, it's getting to that point. I got to agree. It's getting to that point.
All right, so let's get into Dynamite real quick. And show opens with Renee Paquette, who is all elite. And this is not too much of a surprise. I mean, her husband, John Moxley, just signed a 5-year deal that includes some backstage stuff. They can travel together. They can make good money. Renee's really good at her job.
Can we stop for a second and talk about this 5-year deal?
Yeah.
John Moxley signs a 5-year deal. I didn't mean to cut Zach off when he was giving Renee Paquette her flowers. She is obviously very good at her job, a very likable on-screen personality. She could do anything. She could be hosting NFL Sunday on Fox. She could be doing Sports Center. She is a extremely charismatic on-screen presence without doing very much, which is something that is, I don't want to undersell her talent, and I'm not talking about how pretty she is or anything. I'm just saying that she has an easygoing way about her that is something that really can't be taught, I think. So all props to her. A 5-year deal in pro wrestling is a long fucking time, man. A lot can happen in 5 years. And I think that it is, I would have probably, if I was John Moxley's agent, I don't know what he got paid. If I was John Moxley's agent, I probably would have been like, hey, let's just do 3 or something like that, because 5 years is longer than AEW has been around. And if anything, the last 2 months of AEW have shown just how volatile that entire situation is. 5 years is a long time. What do you think about this, Jason?
I would agree. I don't want to interject, but I would agree if we're talking about literally anyone else except Jon Moxley. I don't think it matters to him. I think he's in this thing for the long haul. Maybe in 20 years he shows up on the WWE Hall of Fame show, or maybe a little bit before that. But there is no worries about Jon Moxley going back to WWE. He's going to do what he wants to do, and this just seems like the perfect format. He's the man. Outside of Jericho, maybe, like, even an argument there, like, he is AEW, and he gets to do whatever the hell he wants, and they protect the shit out of him. He's more protected than Jericho. I think this is where he cements himself as like an all-timer with this 5-year deal, where this is the opportunity. He's already great now, and he's going to go down like as a Hall of Famer, but like this is where he has the potential to like really cement a legacy.
As
anybody else, I would say short-term deal for sure.
As somebody who has a lot of experience with high-value contracts like me, like it's something that I dabble in. I'm kind of an agent. I know you guys don't know this, but
we can only sign him for a week at a time on BFR. That's why he's talking short term.
I'm saying, you don't think they would have given them the same deal with the same amount of money per year for 3 years? I
doubt he even looked at the money. That dude's rich and his wife's rich, and he's not a material dude. Like, just listening to interviews with him, like his last WWE offer, like he said, they backed up the Brinks truck, and then they handed him another deal. He said he didn't even like open the envelope to even see what the offer was. Like, he was just like, hey, he's like, I own my truck. He's like, I bought my mom a house. I own my house. He's like, I paid for it with cash. He's like, he doesn't do anything with money. He's just one of those dudes that's like that. So I just don't think he's money motivated.
Fair enough. So it opens up the Renee Paquette.
Yeah, sorry.
That's no, I don't apologize. I'm the one that took it off the rails.
I might have come across as like uber defensive of like what you were saying. I think it's very reasonable for literally 99.9% of the wrestling population. I think there's like 5 dudes in like the entire wrestling that are not money motivated, but he's one of them.
Well, you're not defensive about it, but now you've tripled back to it. So I can't wait to see you next week, dude. I can't wait to see you next week. We're gonna pal around.
Okay, all right, stop. Let's just talk about this really quick, because obviously this is a programming note, and this is something that obviously we hadn't really talked about or maybe even discussed until right now. We're not doing a pod on Thursday. We're doing it on Saturday?
Let's talk about this off air.
Okay.
These people don't need to see how the sausage is made.
It's like whenever you get a peek in, like you're delivering like to like your favorite kitchen, like you're like a mailman or whatever, and you're like, you eat at this place all the time and it's so good. Then you go in the back door and you're like, oh, this is fucking gross.
You're like Gordon Ramsay on Kitchen Nightmares.
Right.
You're like, there's bad chicken in the freezer.
I was about to say, I used to like Wendy's chili until I heard it was made. I was just like, never mind.
Oh, fuck that. Dude.
Pretty much.
All right. What was the first segment on Dynamite?
The very first segment, an hour and 15 in here. The very first segment was Renee Paquette. And, yeah, like I said, over with the crowd. She's Canadian, debuts in Toronto, and couldn't have been a better place for it to happen. This crowd was hot all night, and I think AEW, seeing some new markets, being in new markets and hot wrestling markets is good for them, and not traveling the same markets where things are getting a little bit tired, especially whenever people are having the conception that, your product is not hot. Go somewhere new where people are thrilled to see you.
Right.
And it made for a much better show. So Christian comes out. Her first guest is Christian. And, he just runs down the crowd with some cheap heat stuff. But, got a big pop because also Canadian. But
he wasn't lying about the Maple Leafs, though.
Yeah, no, not at all.
It's like, damn, man. True, but unnecessarily rough. Go ahead.
But his whole thing was to set up the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy Jack Perry match, and while he was on commentary, and this match happened. The crowd was super hot for it. Luchasaurus goes over. They're dragging this thing out. I would not still be continuing this thing for sure. Especially Christian has the same injury as CM Punk, so it's like what 6 to 8 months out. Just get rid of that feud after All Out and do something else. Just have him be off TV. And it just doesn't make sense to drag this thing out for that long if that's what they're gonna do. I don't know, but it just seems like with Luchasaurus winning, that's what they're gonna do is drag this thing out. Crowd was super hot. They were super into the Jungle Boy near falls. Just me personally, if I had the pencil, I probably would have had Jungle Boy go over, booking the show with happy endings here. But that was not what happened.
I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying about dragging this thing out. It's going to drag out a little bit. If Christian's ultimately going to be the end game, but I don't think you have to continuously have Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy for the next 6 to 8 months. Obviously, that's unrealistic. But the way they ended All Out is the problem. If Jungle Boy would have won right there, that probably solves your problem. You could have kind of moved on. Unfortunately, the way that they booked it, we're now, okay, Jungle Boy can't, go out like that. There's just no way. So now you've gone down this rabbit hole where you got Christian hurt. You booked it this way, so now Jungle Boy's going to want revenge on both guys. Luchasaurus is the guy that's available, so yeah, he's going to go after him. And now Christian has, pulled a little fuckery to where Luchasaurus gets the win or whatever the case may be. So now, for the foreseeable future, you've got these two intertwined for a little bit. I don't think, like I said, it's unrealistic. They're going to go for 6 to 8 months with this. But yeah, I would not be surprised whatever the November pay-per-view is, Full Gear. Okay, that should be the blow-off for this feud. After that, no more.
Yeah, like I have, once Christian got hurt before All Out, and then they had what was basically a squat, All Out, right?
Yes.
What was basically a squash match, then you knew it was going to keep going. Totally fine with me. What I wouldn't mind seeing is Jungle Boy fighting some other people or having some other segments on an AEW Dynamite. Jungle Boy is one of your best resources in terms of young talent, homegrown talent, somebody that the crowd is completely behind, somebody that will pop the crowd.
Ladies love him.
Like you guys said, the Toronto crowd was off the chain. It made the show so much better. And
is better. I'm like, okay, come on, man. Y'all have to check that shit.
Is that what they were saying? I didn't catch that.
I'm like, man, that's fucked up. He's got one arm.
I take umbrage with that.
I know, and that's why I said it.
But I thought the match was great, though. I thought the match was really good. The match was really good. Luchasaurus can go, and it was fun to see them go, and I would like to see them go again. That being said, like you said, Full Gear, if that's a November pay-per-view.
Sounds right. That
should be the blow-off. Good enough for me, but I was into this, and I liked it, and I liked that Lucha went over, too. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it. Ultimately, Jungle Boy is going to win out. The fact that Luchasaurus wins this and the way that he won it obviously protects Jungle Boy. I'm not upset. The match was so much better that the finish didn't hurt it.
By the way, just as an overall thought, I know that I've been down on AEW the last couple of weeks. This felt like a bounce back week to me. I know it didn't to a lot of people, but this felt like a bounce back week to me. It felt like there were, 3 goddamn near great matches. And a couple great promo segments. So what was next, Zach?
I'll agree. This was a really good show. Next was fine. Another Renee Paquette, backstage, just took Hathaway and Ethan Page, just setting up a match with Private Party member Isaiah Cassidy and Ethan Page. Essentially, it's like one of those like heel contract things. They're like, oh, you're now a part of the firm. You're under contract to us. But we'll have a match, and if you win, we'll release you from the contract. So kind of an old school angle. We'll see how it goes. But, I think we're all in agreement here that something needs to break away kind of with all of those characters, especially Private Party. They need some time to shine. But then we had War Joe. It's ridiculous to say. I don't know if I like a little bit better than Swerve in Our Glory, but like not a whole lot. And that's Wardlow and Samoa Joe for the uninformed. And they had a match with The Factory, QT Marshall, and Nick Comoroto. Match was fine. It was those guys just absolutely dominating. Some nerd heels for the most part. Had a lot of other folks come out. Brian Cage, Gates of Agony, the dude with like the turban.
Prince Nana.
Yeah, just a lot happening. And so that FTR can come out because, they have that history with the Pinnacle. FTR comes out to support Wardlow, and then Dax drops like an F-bomb, sounded like, and promotes Rampage coming on at 10. He's like, 10? And then Sean Spears, who's also Canadian, makes his return as a babyface on AEW. So this was fine, but it was pretty cool to see, Spears get a little bit of a pop. Like, I mean, the guy's like totally fine. He's living a fine life. He has a very hot wife that he just recently got pregnant. So like, not real worried about Sean Spears.
She's very.
You guys got anything to say about this? She's very.
I think that she's very attractive. Sean Spears came out as a babyface. Maybe it's a testament to how good he was as a heel. I cannot view that guy as a babyface anymore. Even when he came out doing this thing where he walks, his entrance where he walks with his back and he jumps up a couple times and his arms are out. Like, even then I was like, man, fuck this guy, right? Fuck this guy. But it's not go away heat though. It was like, I this guy just feels like a heel to me. But I did appreciate the synergy in terms of going back to the story where Wardlow and FTR and Sean Spears were all together in the Pinnacle, and they're all there except for MJF. So I get it. I was fine with it. I'm fine with Warjo too. I would prefer if they were Warjo and Wardlow didn't have the TNT Championship and they were fighting the Young Bucks for the tag team belts, or fighting the Acclaim for the tag team belts. I would like to see the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega back as soon as possible, though. Like, I could not give a fuck about CM Punk anymore because the taste is so bad in my mouth with him. But can we bring the Bucks and Omega back, please? Like, let's just
please.
bring. Can
we just have like just a segment as a treat? You don't have to have a match. Can we just have a BTE as a treat?
Yeah, can I just have a treat of those guys? That being said, this was a fine segment. QT Marshall, I guess, find me.
Jesus Christ, man! God
I'm just kidding. He's so hateable.
QT is one of the best sports entertainers / professional wrestlers in the business. He is so good at what he does. Nobody else is QT Marshall like QT Marshall is.
Nobody in this segment had X-Pac heat for me though. I was down with the segment. It was fine for me. There was one guy that had go away heat on the next segment though.
It is funny that you mentioned that Wardlow's like TNT champion. Like, Samoa Joe is also ROH TV champion. It's just two guys with single belts. There's so many belts floating around that even the tag team guys have singles belts.
I guess that's my only problem with it. And look, I wanted to see Wardlow defend the TNT title. Same with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's obviously done it. It feels like it's been forever since Wardlow has defended the TNT title.
They should be defending the titles.
if the tag team division is as stacked as we claim it is, and it's as loaded as we think it is, Wardlow for this scenario makes sense because you made a match out of it. It continues the storyline that's happened before. Okay, I get it. But I don't need to see Wardlow long term. 1 week, 2 weeks more tops. From this point, we need to start getting Wardlow back on track.
Fair enough. What was next?
He said somebody had go away heat in this segment. It was Swerve Strickland and Daddy Ass. Right? This is the next one?
No, it was Jericho Appreciation Society with Jericho. I'm not going to call him by what he calls himself.
Come on, man.
No,
Come on, man.
Matt Menard.
Come on, man.
Now I know his name. I think it's the first time I've ever said his fucking real name on this. And what do they call Angelo? I kind of like Angelo. What do they call him?
Cool Hand Angelo
Perkins. Cool Hand.
Cool Hand. Yeah, that's good. I don't like Matt Menard.
You don't like Daddy Magic?
Who?
You don't like Daddy Magic?
Matt Menard? No, I don't.
I know you don't.
Save Daddy Magic at Menards. I think that he sucks, but I mean, obviously, I'm in the minority, and I've said this before. Like, I'm not here to hate on stuff that works, and if people like him, that's fine. They can like him, and I don't want him to get off my TV. Well, I guess that's the definition of Xbox Heat, isn't it? Xbox Heat is, I do want him off my TV. But I'm not here to deny a man or to shame a man out of his living. I hope that he's making good money. I can't stand him. I fucking hate him.
Bill is so privileged that he has to seek ways to be a minority.
I was going to say, man, every time I see him,
nobody, Zach, is more oppressed in today's society than the white man.
Tell him.
The white cis male. We have it tough.
Testify, my brother. I was getting ready to say, every time I see Matt Menard, I think of this motherfucker. All this is, honestly, it sets up what happens, obviously, down the line later on here in a little bit. I don't mind them, honestly, man. I think they're just another tool to get heat on themselves. Jericho, obviously, someone else, when we talk about that here in a little bit.
Obviously been elevated.
Yes.
By Chris Jericho.
Without question.
And I was wrong about that at the beginning. I was like, I don't think that when Jericho Appreciation Society started, I was like, he can't elevate these guys. These guys are jobbers, blah, blah, blah. Now, they don't really go out and wrestle. They go out and take bumps every once in a while, but they have been elevated. People know their names.
For sure.
People like seeing them on television. They have been elevated, and that is the point of wrestling, is to elevate the people that come behind you, to make somebody else look good, to make people care about them, and they have no doubt been elevated. If it's not my cup of tea, I feel like I say this every week, so I'll just stop right now. Anyway, go ahead.
So we did have a match between Swerve Strickland and Billy Gunn, and I did enjoy this. It was 58-year-old Billy Gunn.
Christ.
Looking better.
He's 58.
Yeah.
He's 58.
He looks incredible.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But Swerve is fantastic. What are you going to say?
Of course. Swerve was fantastic during this entire fucking match. Just giving him the side eye the whole time. He's like, God damn, these motherfuckers are weird. And he's like looking at the crowd like, you guys are weird for liking it.
These guys, I love it.
It's
so good.
No doubt.
I was wrong about Scissor Me Daddy. I thought this was going to bomb like nobody's business. It has taken off. It has a life of its own.
It's not even. I was wrong about it too. It's not even close. It is
Rusev Day on the AEW side of the ledger, and I'm not saying that Scissor Me Daddy was
10.
I don't. It is really ridiculous. I'm not saying that Tony Khan was trying to suppress Scissor Me Daddy, but it just feels so organically that it just happened. and Bowens and
well, what he didn't do was fight it.
he didn't.
The only thing he did was Swerve and Keith Lee went over them at All Out, and I don't even know if that was the bad call because now it made him even bigger. What happened? Well, we'll talk about the after match angle in a second, but let's talk about the match.
I thought the match itself was good. I think, like you said, Billy Gunn at 58 held his own. I think he did a little WWE kind of throwback where, I'm gonna pull my, I'm gonna pull my ass out. No, I'm not. I'm gonna pull my ass out. No, I'm not. Swerve, I thought played the heel role amazing. I think he just feels like a natural heel, but he could do the babyface shit too. Plus, he's got talent in the ring. I think I'm just kind of waiting for Keith Lee is the wild card for this, but that's neither here nor there. I thought the match itself, it worked out. Sneaky Swerve gets the win, reinforcing the Sneaky Swerve moniker, which I fucking love. I just think that this is why I love the Acclaim, because Caster is, the funny guy to me. Well, they're both funny, just funny in different ways. Caster is like overtly funny. He's right in your face. Bowens is kind of like, not even the straight guy, obviously not the straight guy, but he has his own way of being funny. It's just a different kind of a humor, but it still works and their connection works. So obviously post-match, go ahead, Tubular. You can have the post-match portion.
So Sterling and Nice come out. That's Mark Sterling. And right as they're about to do the scissoring, the crowd's super hot for it. They really want to see it. Like you said, TK struck while the iron was hot, which is something that all promoters should do, and we're thankful that he did it. But because you never know how long this thing's going to last, especially if you fight it. So don't fight it. But story here is that Smart Mark Sterling has trademarked the use of Scissor Me in professional wrestling, which is a real trademark that they took out. So this is like part shoot, but of course it's AEW that owns it, not Smart Mark Sterling. But very funny and is nuclear heat. Whenever you are keeping the hottest, catchphrase from being uttered, the hottest catchphrase on AEW from being uttered. So obviously they're going to have some kind of match for the right, for the trademark, and there'll be a big pop whenever they all get to scissor again.
But the other thing is that it takes the hottest act in AEW, neuters them, kayfabe style, and then it brings Smart Mark Sterling, Tony Nese, and Woods up along with him, because it's like, okay, so we're getting over. Now we're dropping the ladder down, and we're going to bring you guys with us. Even if it's just for a couple weeks, even if it's just for a month, or even if it goes to Full Gear or whatever, they're dropping the ladder down. They're going to be like, hey, can Tony Nese and what's his first name? Sorry,
Josh Woods.
Josh Woods.
Josh Woods.
We can drop the ladder down, bring these guys along with us, and maybe they can get over, or maybe they can make a name for themselves. Maybe they can have a couple big matches. Maybe they can get over. Like, this is what wrestling should be, and I was a big fan, like a super big fan of Smart Mark Sterling coming out and saying that actually we trademarked Scissor Me, and he was like, don't do it. Actually, do it. He's like, go ahead and do it, because if you do it, I'm going to sue you, and it's like, that is sports entertainment, if you want to call it, but really that's just professional wrestling.
Yeah,
it's just professional wrestling.
It's an old school angle, not saying it's like, 50s and 60s old school, but we've seen it, multiple times.
I think that Tony Nese, I'm not saying he's a total package or anything. He looks great. Dude can wrestle. He's not the best promo, but Smart Mark Sterling is a guy that's very comfortable as a heel manager, and I like him. And if you put him on TV, these are the kind of openings that happen, I guess, when you have the Young Bucks not on TV, when the Lucha Brothers aren't on TV, when there's a void, it's like next man up.
Agreed,
so let's see what you can do. Yep. So again, I'll say it. I really like this episode of Dynamite. What was next, Zach? Unless you want to say something else about it.
No.
The only thing I wanted to say about it, I just wanted to push back a little bit. I think maybe neutering was the word I took exception to when you were talking about the Acclaimed. I don't think they're neutered, but I agree with what you're saying in the sense of they're going to elevate Tony Nese and Josh Woods up to try to get them. Yeah, about you were saying that they neutered the Acclaimed, but they're going to bring it down. They're going to use the ladder to bring Woods and Nese up. I don't think it's neutered per se, because ultimately I think we all know they're going to be able to do it again. We're just putting it in this scenario. We're just putting it on pause. They can't do it, but I think the fans are just going to really start to, wherever they go next, it's just going to be as soon as they hit the ring, they'll do their rap. But then it's just going to be like, the whoever the next crowd is going to be, oh, scissor me, daddy. And it's just going to keep building on that end.
The only problem that I really have with that chant is that Seven Nation Army gets stuck in my head. Got stuck in my head last night, and then I woke up with it still in my head this morning.
Got your ass.
I mean, it's so catchy. Like, do you think that Jack White knew when he wrote that, doom, 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 that it would go, like, across the world? Like, soccer teams, it's unstoppable. What
I hear it, and I can't believe I'm getting ready to say this motherfucker's name, is Enzo Amore.
Oh, not me. I mean,
oh God.
I think about that White Stripes video. That was one of the coolest videos of all time, where everything just kept fading into the background. And I'll show it to you. I'm gonna get high here in a second. I'll show it to you. What was next?
Nice.
I think Smart Mark should have subpoenas printed up and put under everybody's chairs, so whenever they chant that, he's like, "You guys are all going to court." And,
God, wouldn't that be a great? That would be so fucking
like, everybody
funny.
Look underneath your chairs now. Hold it up.
At house shows.
Yeah,
that would be so. That would be so funny.
God,
let this motherfucker book
the territories.
Right?
God damn,
Come on.
Smart. Yes, good call. Good call.
Think, Mark!
So we had an MJF backstage segment, which I loved, not just because it was MJF doing what MJF does, but he also got interrupted by Stokely Hathaway, and while criticizing the booking of backstage segments in AEW, like in a positive way, he's like, "Oh, and look at this, it's the AEW Dynamite trope where someone interrupts a backstage segment. How original!" And I was like, "Oh my God, it's so perfect." But one thing that was superb about this was two things. MJF had a normal, regular vocal intonation. He was not doing his yelling that he does whenever he's out in front of a crowd, where he's trying to like control a crowd. He was just talking. And I think it made it come across as much more believable and much more genuine. And at the same time, he was doing it, he was speaking in a way that really kind of gave you a peek behind the curtain of the villain. And maybe this guy isn't necessarily a villain. He just perceives himself to be one, where we started to see what is maybe, we get these little peaks, these like chinks in the armor of MJF where perhaps he's a redeemable human being. And then, like, anybody that's ever met him, you're just like, no, like, there's absolutely no way. And he, like, reminds us, like, on a regular basis that he is irredeemable. But he's so good at giving off the feeling that maybe there is some kind of redemption, the Darth Vader taking off the mask, or a crack in Darth Vader's mask. But, yeah, this was really good. He's got that chip, and this plays into the next segment. But I don't know, what do you guys think about the promo?
As a huge Star Wars fan, he probably, I'll say it right now, I think Darth Vader is the greatest on-screen villain, movie villain of all time. I don't care what anybody says, kiss my narrow ass. Him taking off the mask, that kind of fucked me up, because that was just like, ugh. Darth Vader's done, man. It's the fuck, man. What the fuck, My boy's done and shit. I get it, I know how it's supposed to end, but damn, I'm still a little sad that Darth Vader is going on to the other side. MJF is kind of just, it's different shades of MJF. I agree with, ultimately I agree with what you're saying. I'm not sure where this is going. I like the fact that, you're showing a side of, I'm not the bad guy, but, every day I wake up, I look in the mirror, I know I have to be the bad guy. I get that. I understand that totally. I just don't believe that ultimately it's going to turn into a babyface turn anytime soon, if ever. Okay? I'm a firm believer of the track record. Okay? If you've done something once, all right, it's one time. Shit happens. You've done it the second time, all right, motherfucker, that's twice. You do it 3 times or more, this is habitual. You're a habitual line stepper, as Charlie Murphy would like to say. To me, MJF is a habitual line stepper. I'm just waiting for him to step over this next line. I appreciate you. You want to try to throw me off the scent, motherfucker. I'm not fooled. I am not fooled. I'm waiting for him to have this. Next week is Mox versus Page. It wouldn't surprise me not one goddamn bit if MJF teased it, attempted, cashed it in successfully, all of the above. None of that would surprise me because that's what MJF does. I like the vulnerability, but I don't believe it for 1 second at all.
Crocodile tears.
Okay? You can tell it how you want to tell it, motherfucker. I'm waiting. I see how this works. It's the scorpion and the frog, man. You know how this motherfucker's going to end. Now, if you want to have the scorpion on your back, that's your business.
Yep. No, I'm with you. But it is fun, and it makes for compelling television.
Without question, I think it makes it more compelling because even though they switched the rules, the chip that can be cashed in at any point, and the person who's holding it now more especially makes it that much more intriguing.
What are we talking about?
We're still just finishing up the MJF segment.
MJF, the backstage thing, I don't know what he's doing with Stokely Hathaway. Like, is he turning babyface, or is this just a case of 2 heels hating each other? Like, because he already gave him 2 strikes, and the firm has not been here that long for him to already have 2 strikes. So it looks like they're kind of on their way out from this. But to Zach's point of him speaking in normal cadence, there are times where I watch MJF and I want to hate him because I'm like, he's young, he's a fucking cocky motherfucker. He yelled at me about almost getting chicken wing sauce on his scarf that one time. And it's like, fuck this young guy. I'm a man. I'm 40, too. And at the same time, he cuts his promo, and he cut that promo on Regal, and it's like, God damn, that's a really good promo. That is just a fucking solid, it's a solid, classic style pro wrestling heel promo that you can't have any issue with. There wasn't any shoot stuff in it, which, frankly, let's do away with the work shoot stuff for a little while,
they need to put that point on the bench for a little bit.
Yeah, we've had it for a while now, and it's kind of like if everything's a work shoot, then nothing's a work shoot. So let's just have some work stuff for a while. I really enjoyed this segment. I really enjoyed MJF. I can't lie.
Yeah.
I'm not here to lie. I'm here to be an honest,
objective
arbiter of professional wrestling.
Amen for that, baby. No, like I said, I just don't believe it. Ultimately, I'm just waiting for him to turn on somebody to where I'm just like, see, there you go.
And I would say the same thing about the next segment also, which was Hangman and Moxley. What you think about that, Zach?
I thought MJF was one of the better parts of it, and it was a fantastic segment. I always enjoy MJF on screen, but Moxley comes out, gives a great babyface champion promo. I'm the guy, been that guy for most of 3 years. A lot of people end up crumbling as champions, some quicker than others. That was one big CM Punk. I like that.
Not gonna lie. Fired, motherfucker. You ain't shit.
And for the record, that's not a work shoot. Like, that's a work. CM Punk won, and then he wasn't champion anymore. Like that,
they did business.
That's a work.
Yeah. So
shrug shoulders. I don't know what to tell you, dog. No, it was on point. Go ahead, Tubir. Sorry.
You gotta think that Moxley is so pissed at CM Punk, though. You gotta think, like,
oh God, yeah.
In his heart of hearts, like if
this could have been so much money. So much money.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall of the AA meeting when Moxley cuts a promo on Punk, right?
That's so good.
Can you imagine Moxley in AA meeting? Like a bunch of fucking dudes just sitting around smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee, and like Moxley goes out there and cuts a huge promo on Punk.
I can't believe
and then they're like,
this
okay,
motherfucker
and they're like,
jumped
okay,
into the stands
all right, Ron,
after being champ.
And then after he's done, they're like, okay, Ron, you're next. He's like, yeah, my kids hate me.
You gotta write that book now.
I'm dead. That's one of your better ones. Easily. You can totally see Moxley at the AA, kind of rocking his shit. Like, this motherfucker.
Just Moxley and AA meeting. That's really. I'm cutting this out. I'm writing the book. I need to write the book.
Holy shit.
The only thing that took me out of it is they don't allow you to smoke indoors like anywhere anymore. It really takes the.
I don't think so. AA meetings. Okay. I don't know. I've never been to one. What did you think about Hangman's promo here? Because it seemed to be universally loved. It was definitely a huge babyface promo. What did you think while you were watching it?
It started
I
off.
thought it was.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Tibia. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I thought it was great, and I thought it was especially fun that he did the old Ric Flair punch yourself in the face so hard that you bust yourself open bit. And, this is Adam Page, and that is Jon Moxley. And I think as much as they are characters, I think each one of them is that old adage of this is this person just dialed to 11. I think both of them come across as very genuine and very likable, and maybe that's just because I like them both so much. But I am rooting for both of these guys next week in Cincinnati.
For me, it started off, I wasn't sure where.
So that's next week on Dynamite?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I wasn't sure where Adam Page was going at first, but then he got it back on track, and just like you said, to me, this was one of his better promos that he's cut since he's been in AEW. Solid babyface promo, basically calling him shot and saying he's going to be the next world champion, come hell or high water. And that's what you want from your chasing babyface contender. Face versus face next week in Jon Moxley's hometown. If MJF cashes this shit in successfully, he going to need security to get out that motherfucker alive.
All right, so this is my opinion of the Adam Page babyface promo. I was watching it being very cynical. I was watching it being like him yelling at Moxley because Moxley called him a kid, and he was like, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. It was like, I was kind of like the, maybe Zach can help me out here. What's the Shakespeare play where he's like, you doth protest too much? It's like, if you keep yelling about how you're a man, then maybe you don't really feel like a man. You know what I mean? But then I thought, this is a Dusty Rhodes type promo. Like, hey, fuck you. It's like, I've fathered a child. I'm married to the woman that I love. That is
I got my own personal, issues to deal with.
And then I kind of shot myself into a work because I started liking it more the more I thought about it, the more I was watching it. So I was very cynical about it at the beginning. Yelling I'm a man at somebody is maybe not the boast you think it is, Adam Page, but I was there for it. Moxley seemed pretty amused by it, to be honest. Him punching himself, I don't think that he got the amount of blood that he thought he was going to get because he was supposed to wipe it on Moxley's shirt. That being said, I was here for it. I'm more a fan of Adam Page's matches than I am his promos, I liked it, though. I thought it was a really good segment. I didn't like it as much as everybody else on the internet did.
No Hamlet.
I didn't think it was like, you know.
Is that Hamlet?
It's Hamlet.
Have you seen The Northman?
Not yet.
Okay, The Northman is based off of the Norse myth that Hamlet is actually based off of. Anyway, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about Andor later too.
Cool.
What was I going to say? It wasn't the greatest promo of all time by any stretch, but for Adam Page, like you said, Bill, it's not like he's strong on promos to begin with. So for him to cut something like that really made it stand out a little more.
It was a pretty great babyface promo.
Yeah, it made it stand
I
out
almost
a
fell
little
short.
more.
Yeah, I liked it.
You know what I'm saying? So in that scenario, I thought, you know, he stepped up to the plate. I thought Moxley did what Moxley does. He's the bar. I know you guys talked about it, but for me, I get why you say 3 years should have been what he signed for. I get why he signed for 5 years. I see both sides. Moxley's much more optimistic. You're looking at it from the backstage volatility. I get it. I don't have him. If he wants to sign for 5 years, that's fine. I don't think if there's a move he makes, he goes back to WWE. And at that point, he's not the number one guy. Right now, as it stands, and for the foreseeable future, he's the number one guy in AEW.
Yes.
And there's no two ways around that.
I'm not begrudging the man the contract.
No. I'm just saying, no, I get it. I see what you're saying. The backstage volatility could fold this company. The fact you might not be able to expand the base that you have right now might long-term might not be able to keep up with WWE. So you might not be able to expand. So this might be what you see. That has, you know, factors into it. You know, if they get more money in, then obviously you can make, you know, more TV deals, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Make that route. I get both sides.
Let's keep it moving. We had Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho for the ROH heavyweight title. Daniel Garcia inserts himself into the ending of the match. He basically takes out Bryan Danielson, reasserts himself as part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Y2J is still the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, which is something that if you would have said 2 years ago, you would have been like, what the fuck happened in professional wrestling where now that Chris Jericho is the Ring of Honor Heavyweight Champion? What did you think of it, Zach?
I mean, it was a solid match and a solid angle. You know, I liked that you didn't know which way it was going to go. You know, you didn't know who he was going to hit with the belt. And then, you know, you could either have him join Blackpool Combat Club, which would have been cool, or you have him stay with Jericho Appreciation Society, which is also cool. So no real loss here or anything, just a really solid professional wrestling match, fun professional wrestling angle, and yeah, Jericho is still the Ring of Honor World Champion. But yeah, if you would have said that a couple years ago, yeah, there's going to be a match October 11th, and it's going to be Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Minds would have been blown. You would not, wouldn't believe it at all.
No doubt.
I'd have looked at that bowl and like, what the shit is this?
No, you would have thought the world would have broken down and like it was like on AM radio or something.
Is this ham or what? I was not surprised with Daniel Garcia hitting Bryan Danielson. I've been calling that
You've
for a while.
You've been calling it for a while, yes. You know what? I should have started this out with giving you credit because you have been calling this for a while. You have said that Daniel Garcia is not going anywhere.
It just, to me, this
credit where it's due.
Thank you. But this is not a knock against Chris Jericho, what I'm going to say. But for me, Garcia is the workhorse of Jericho Appreciation Society. Don't get me wrong. Chris Jericho can go, okay? But Daniel Garcia is in.
Well, that's not really, that's not. Yeah, of course he is. Who else would it be?
What I guess.
Matt Menard?
Yeah, exactly. He's getting ready to say your boy can do some things in the ring. I about to say
Can he?
The
Some drop toe holds.
the anarchy in the arena match. Okay, that changed my whole perspective on it. I'm not saying he could make a broom look good, but I give him more credit than I did coming into that match. Matt Menard.
We're not talking about Matt Menard.
Okay.
We're talking about Bryan Danielson versus Y2J.
You brought him up, motherfucker. My point is the reason why he wasn't going to leave is that he is the workhorse of Jericho Appreciation Society. So if you're going to have them on the show week to week,
you brought them up.
And now you have Jericho and Daniel Garcia as the top two guys as the Ring of Honor single guys champions. I guess Samoa Joe, you can put them in there too, obviously. It makes a lot more sense for them to stay together and have them moving forward. Blackpool Combat Club is fine as it is. I mean, with Daniel Garcia, it's an embarrassment of riches at that point. So, yeah, for me, it's no surprise. The match I thought was good. The right guy went over. From that point, it's the Ring of Jericho.
30 seconds apiece here, okay? Because we've been going for a while now. Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker versus Hikaru Shida and Toni Storm. Hikaru Shida gets the pin again. The fans were way behind Hikaru Shida, and this is another time where Toni Storm, as interim champ, Jason, I'm telling you 30 seconds here, okay? Where it looks like they've been putting more emphasis on the non-title wearer than Toni Storm. What did you think about this match? 30 seconds.
I will say that going forward, my Stone Cold
All right,
lock
that
of
was
the
30
week-
seconds, Zach. What do you think? No, go ahead. I'm fucking around.
My Stone Cold lock of the week moving forward, that Toni Storm will beat any and all competitors for the interim AEW Women's Championship until Thunder Rosa comes back.
Zach, what did you think about it?
I mean, gave Shida a nice victory to set up, her having a interim title match next week. So going over Britt Baker is no joke, even a tag match. So yeah, you would actually think either Shida or Hayter would be the ones taking the pin in this match, and that is not what happened at all. Shida got the pin over Britt Baker.
I'm going to say this as respectfully as possible. Jamie Hayter needs to really have a run at the title because Jamie Hayter is really good. That's not the part I wanted to say respectfully, though. I wanted to say respectfully, there were some butts in this match that were just unbelievable butts. Like, some real butts in this match. Now, that's not saying that I don't respect what they do in the ring. I'm just saying, objectively, as somebody who enjoys the human form, there were some butts in this match.
Wow.
Wow,
Really
Zach,
good stuff.
I thought Zach just hung up. I thought it turned off. Okay, and then finally, in the main event, we had Orange Cassidy versus Pac. Orange Cassidy goes over Pac to win the All-Atlantic title. I'll go first. This match was fun as fuck. Pac played into the Orange Cassidy style of match where he started doing the thing where he was going to do the soft thing, and then he didn't, and then Orange Cassidy pulled it on him. This was a super fun match. I think we talked about this last week. I think we all agreed that Orange Cassidy didn't have a chance to win this match, but he did win this match. What'd you think about it, Zach?
Oh, yeah, great. The crowd really got into it. They really got behind Orange Cassidy, and they did the right thing here. Going into it, I would have thought the Pac would have retained, but first time in Toronto, first international show, they really made an impact by doing a title change, orange confetti. It was the right move. And also, Orange Cassidy, we think he's Teflon, and he really kind of is, but he takes a lot of losses. He's also won a lot of matches. This is his first title, and he's been one of the most over guys in the company for years. So, I think it's cool.
No, I agree. It was probably time to pull the trigger on Pac being a double champion. Nothing against Pac, but Orange Cassidy, I hate to even use use the term deserved, I'll say the word earned the chance to be a champion. The Heartland Championship is a good place for him to start. Brainbuster on the table I thought was a little sick. The way that Pac sells Orange Cassidy's DDTs, it looks like it hurts way more than it really should. These two just have good chemistry together, and they just
really
had
do.
They had another really good match. Like I said, the right guy went over.
Orange Cassidy's first belt in AEW. Does that surprise you? When I thought about it, I was like, that doesn't surprise me. But when they first said it, I was like, oh, shit, really?
Well, we've seen him against, guys that obviously he's had title matches before, but just falling a little short. Wardlow, I think, was the most recent title match. No, Will Ospreay at
so this
Forbidden Door.
The Will Ospreay match was off the chain.
But just falls short.
Classic.
So in this scenario,
But,
it just
as a match, though.
Yeah, it felt like this was the right time, right place. Toronto, like you said, first time being in Toronto, and they pulled the trigger on it. No problem with it.
Zach?
No, you already spoke on it.
The thing that I was going to say about Orange Cassidy is that this match, sent me down an Orange Cassidy Wikipedia YouTube rabbit hole, because apparently he used to fight in the mask, and I started watching a bunch of his shit on YouTube, and I read his entire Wikipedia page, and he said about the Orange Cassidy character, he said, everybody hates their job. Orange Cassidy's job is he's a wrestler, but nobody wants to go to work. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, that is the best. That is the best description for a character, for a wrestling character ever.
All right, motherfucker, come on.
He said everybody hates their job.
Ooh, you want this big kick? Ooh.
Unbelievable. But congratulations to Orange Cassidy and Pac. They are two of my favorites, and I hope they fight forever.
Good bounce back show overall.
No doubt. It was a really good Dynamite.
No, it better than the last couple weeks.
For sure.
I'm not begging for the Elite to come back. I'm more of the thought that others need to step up.
Yeah, fair enough. Zach, any last thoughts?
No.
Let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, so I wanted to be the wrestling hipster and go with New Japan as the 3 count, but we're actually going to do Monday Night Raw because Monday Night Raw was pretty huge. We will talk about NJPW, but we're going to fly through this shit. Okay, guys? Everybody ready? Started off with Bloodline and Riddle. We had Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. Any thoughts on any of that?
Sammy and Jay Uso.
Very fun stuff.
Yeah, they're obviously now intertwined. If you didn't see SmackDown, Roman's now made Sammy Jay's partner or problem or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, that's going to be the
Gargano Theory.
I wish it was for the briefcase. Ultimately, the match is good. I just think they're not. There's not enough NXT ties for me.
Zach, any thoughts on these?
Yeah, I just wish it was for the briefcase because Johnny Gargano having it seems fun because I love Johnny Gargano, but that's just me being selfish.
Ray versus Chad Gable came next. I mean, those are two guys I could watch fight forever. Honestly. Even they were just running through, the normal, bouncing, run the ropes and shit. Sorry, Eddie Kingston, to use some insider terms like run the ropes.
We were doing so well.
But Judgment Day comes out, AJ comes out, and then we get Gallows and Anderson. Carl Anderson is currently and you know what? I've listened to a couple podcasts this week, and I've heard people talk about it. And I'm like, these guys don't even know what it means when they say, he's the, these guys are he's the neverweight champion.
Jesus Christ.
That's right.
I'm going to have a heart attack
That's right. But that's what these podcasters talk about because they want to show to the listeners that they know what New Japan is, but they have no idea what New Japan is. So my question to you, Jason Cornelius Bell,
as I crack my neck,
is, did Carl Anderson take the match versus Tanahashi off because he was trying to keep himself healthy for his WWE return? Because that match was not good. We all agreed it was not good.
Wow.
Am I remembering that wrong? Didn't we all agree it was not good?
No, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just, the question was not the question I thought you were going to ask me.
Did Carl Anderson know that he was coming back to WWE, so he didn't sandbag, but he just didn't try his hardest against Tanahashi?
Dude, Carl Anderson hasn't like wrestled hard since he was in WWE. Like
Right.
he used to wrestle really hard.
That is
but the guy is
that's the book on the dude. Is that
both of them. Like they got their bags and then like
they take
they were
off.
like, we're done.
They don't try. So
they even would joke. Literally, they would joke out of the horse's mouth. They would, whenever they were being booked on Dynamite, they'd be like, "All right, we want you guys to do a match in like the main event." They're like, can we just do like a run-in?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
We'll just do a run-in.
What I was going to say was I don't know enough of Carl Anderson or Gals like that to really form the opinion. What I was going to say was that the timeline does kind of make a little sense.
What does it mean if the never openweight champion of New Japan is on Monday Night Raw and New Japan's official NJPW 1972 is retweeting WWE with Carl Anderson on it? What does that mean? It has to mean something.
It doesn't mean anything.
It would have, like 5 years ago, it would have been the biggest deal
if
on this podcast.
If AEW was not around, it would be a huge deal. It means nothing right now.
But does that mean, no. Okay, I'll ask you, Zach. Does that mean that WWE and New Japan have some kind of working relationship? Or does it mean that the old way of doing things is completely gone?
I just think it means that Carl Anderson was able to do right by New Japan and do good business, and that was allowed by the new regime in WWE, whereas Vince would have been like,
Fuck.
You're signing and you're leaving the title, and you either drop it before you
get here.
Come. Yeah.
And WWE was like, this cannot hurt us at all. There's no reason why this, why would New Japan fuck with our bottom line at all? It wouldn't fuck with it at all.
We're the ones taking the talent. They're the ones that won in that instance. They're taking the talent.
In that case, I want Carl Anderson to start coming on Raw wearing the never open weight championship belt.
Dude, if he does that,
wouldn't
I'm lose my
happen
goddamn mind.
That wouldn't happen without a working relationship because it's their intellectual property. So they're not allowed.
What if that happens? If that happens next week,
I'll lose my shit.
Is that our lead story?
Fucking ain't right. It is. We talking about that shit. I don't give a fuck what happened. Roman Reigns died. Fuck
All
that.
right, we had Bailey versus Candice LeRae. We had Maurice and Miz. They pulled Dexter Loomis's hat out. Okay, so we had Omos versus the Jobbers, and then we had Bobby Lashley come out. Brock Lesnar comes out and F5s him twice after a German suplex. So what do we think about Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley? Most likely going to happen in Saudi Arabia. What do you think, Zach?
At 10 a.m. on a Saturday? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Down.
This guy gets it. This guy gets it.
He's heating up.
That's when us dads watch pay-per-views. When we're folding
Dream matches
laundry.
in the morning. Yeah.
Oh, I got some Norwex towels that need to be folded. I'm going to watch a pay-per-view. Fry some eggs on a piece of toast.
Holy shit.
Wake
Sriracha.
and bake. And I mean wake and bake some muffins, baby, because it's Saturday.
He's heating up. He's heating up.
Think, Mark!
He's
Oh,
heating up.
no, dog. He said it's going to be some muffins. Go ahead, Two-Beer. I'm sorry. I was going to jump in.
No, that's it, man. It's Dream Match is going to happen on a Blood Money show, but it is conveniently timed for my enjoyment, so just shoot it into my veins, man.
It is a dream match, though, right?
I wish they'd have done it when Brock was the champ, but I mean,
it's kind of like seeing like a yin and yang black and white cookie, right? Like they kind of look alike. You know what I mean?
I said that on Twitter, and some motherfucker was like, "Oh, Bobby wrestled in the Bellator, and Brock was UFC." I'm like, dude,
It's gonna be like when
it's basically the same goddamn thing.
It's gonna be like when I look in the mirror at a Pink Floyd show. You know what I mean? It's gonna be like a black light on me in the mirror, and I'm gonna be like, "Who is that?"
No.
That motherfucker looks like Michael Wilbon.
I don't know. I get it. Brock is that guy, but it was so just
Random?
no, because
Yeah, but you popped though, right?
no, I was just like, what the?
You didn't pop for that?
No,
Oh, I popped.
no. I like Lashley.
Zach, did you pop for that?
Yeah, I mean, I was into it.
Yeah, Lesnar Lashley that's something we've been waiting for.
Oh.
It's never happened.
Okay, I'm not disagreeing with that. Okay,
Lashley looks like a negative of a photograph.
Part of the reason why, we've had this. Well, no, actually, it did happen. Take that back. It was the Royal Rumble match. Lashley beat Brock Lesnar.
When?
Royal Rumble.
The last one that we were at?
No, and well, not the one we were at, but I'm just talking about the one that was here in St. Louis because Roman Reigns got involved in the match, and that's how Lashley ends up winning.
No, that ain't right. Is that right? They fought in St. Louis?
I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
All right, let's move on. So, coming up next, we have Lashley loses the U.S. title to Seth Rollins. We cool with that, guys?
Because it's Seth Rollins, yes.
Zach?
Oh yeah, totally. The whole gimmick was everybody's been talking about how Seth has not had a title for a long time.
Well, what they did was they built up Lashley and Lesnar. Then Lashley gets an excuse for losing to Seth Rollins, and they put the title on Seth Rollins. It's a very smooth line of storytelling, and it makes a lot of sense. So congratulations.
Yeah, and I'm looking, and Lashley did beat Lesnar, and I'm like, oh, dream match. Such a dream match. I forgot that it happened earlier this year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wait, where was it?
Here.
It's a Royal Rumble.
Not where I was there, right?
No. This year's Royal Rumble.
Just in St. Louis.
No, yeah, I saw that. I was
Jesus fucking Christ.
I remember Rollins Reigns. I remember that Lesnar won the Royal Rumble that. He won the Royal Rumble, though. He had a match that night, too?
Lord have mercy.
Whew, I got super high. Hey, shout out to Dave Patterson. He got me the tickets. And then we had Sami Zayn versus Riddle. Riddle goes over because Jay refuses to interfere, just like Sami said, but after Roman had left the room. These guys are hilarious.
Very much so.
This is a very, very good angle.
Within the angle.
What do you think, Zach?
Oh, so good. Sami is a delight. He is my favorite thing in WWE by far, leaps and bounds. So
he is unbelievable.
Yeah,
he has the potential to be the biggest character. He has the potential to be a bigger character babyface than Cody Rhodes, who's like the most white meat of the white meat baby faces you've ever seen.
I'm starting it right here, guys. It's mid-August. Or mid-October, I'm sorry.
I was about to say, damn!
Mid-October. And I'm saying, this is going to be the Sami Zania. The Sami Zania.
He's not winning the title at WrestleMania. Calm down.
Come on, Sammy Mania.
Look, hey, I'm not.
How awesome would that be,
WrestleZania?
Okay, look. If he
hold on.
If he says it,
don't.
At any point,
I'm cutting this out. WWE has got a hold of me because I'm trademarking Sammy Zania. No, hold on.
No, trademark that shit.
Sammy Zania, Sammy Mania, and WrestleZania.
There you go. Got it.
Find me, WWE. Pay me.
What about Zany Mania?
I mean, that's fine. What'd you guys think about the DX reunion?
Short enough, it was perfect.
Did you think Bray Wyatt was coming out?
Somebody said it. I was just like, I was like, but nah, I think that would be a little too much.
What'd you think of it, Tuber?
I like that they acknowledged Billy, out of and also like in commentary. Corey Graves' line about that guy's doing something with office equipment right now, which is so good.
Who do you think's having the most fun right now out of DX? Triple H, he's the 1 seed.
Shawn Michaels got to be the 2 seed.
Shawn Michaels is the 2 seed. Billy Gunn is the 3 seed. Road Dogg's the 4 seed. X-Pac the 5 seed. Who do you think's having the most fun? I bet Billy Gunn is having the most fun.
Easily.
I was going to say Billy Gunn, yeah. Because he doesn't have the responsibility. The other guy's got too much responsibility.
I mean, he is in a current angle that, like...
He's currently one of the hottest things in professional wrestling.
Yes.
Easily.
Yes.
Easily.
I mean, he probably can't even believe it.
If somebody said it on radio this afternoon, I was listening to it, and it's one of
the funnest things about wrestling, man. He probably can't even believe it.
If you'd have went back to that AEW initial press conference when Jericho came out, we were doing a pod at the time. If you'd have said right then that Billy Gunn would have been one of the hottest acts in AEW 3 years later,
October 2022,
people would have been like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
That's exactly right.
No way.
They've been like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, Billy Gunn, my ass.
Billy Gunn.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna be hot.
Yeah. I'm the ass man. That guy. Shit. Yeah. He's that dude now.
You could have bet 50 cents on that in 2019, and you'd be a millionaire.
I thought it was pretty funny, though, how DX handled it, because they didn't
dominate the show like I thought.
Well, they also didn't. They also didn't
everywhere.
They didn't take shots at Billy Gunn though either. They were like he didn't say Mr. Ass, but the whole crowd did. Right.
And it was a nice little sing along. We know the words, motherfucker, and they did it the right way.
Last thing I want to talk about is that LDF showed up on SmackDown before the pay-per-view with Zelina Vega as their woman with blonde hair. Did you guys see this?
Yes.
Yep.
Very cool, right? I mean, we want to see Santos Escobar on the main roster.
Yeah, totally.
This is a guy that could be challenging. If there were 2 belts, he could be challenging for the belt at some time. That's how good of a wrestler he is. That's also kind of how good of a WWE wrestler he is, because he wrestles slow, methodical. Like, everybody expects these Mexican guys to be all luchadors, but that's not the way that this guy is. He is an old school fighter. What do you think, Jason?
I was honestly surprised with the Zelina Vega move. Obviously, Elektra Lopez was the female member.
That was your girl too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed, but
that was your girl.
You know, Zelina Vega is, it's not a bad replacement. I'm just kind of wondering if they're even going to discuss that. Outside
Don't get
of that,
so horny.
Look, man, it's been a little bit. Outside of that, I love the fact that El Phantasma is on SmackDown versus being on Raw. They immediately have the hit roll feud to go into.
I really think that Santos Escobar could be that Mexican superstar that they've been waiting for. You know what I mean?
Dom is a long ways away, raised closer to the end.
Dom?
Yeah.
Mysterio?
Yes.
He's American. He don't even have an accent.
Look. For WWE, they don't give
He's like
a shit.
a white kid from the burbs.
Yeah, I know.
They don't give a shit, okay? They don't care. Okay. It's close enough for them.
It sounds like you went to Duchenne.
Santos
2000 or something.
Santos Escobar could be the guy for the present.
What do you think, Zach?
It's good. The dude is super talented, and he's good looking, and he speaks English. Got a great physique, and he's a great wrestler. I think that it could absolutely be that guy. Real quick,
stop.
Speaking of,
take your hand off your dick.
Speaking of Mexican wrestlers, we got Triple Mania coming up. Pick your brain. We've got Rey Fenix versus Vikingo, which is, and it's gonna be real good.
Dude,
but,
I'll watch that. You know how hard I'll root for Phoenix?
Yeah. We also have, it's going to be really good.
I still think that, Vikingo is a psyop that you guys are pulling on me. Let's reroute his internet. So, the top 10 of PWI says Vikingo, which is some guy that doesn't exist.
Real Truman Show shit.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Vikingo, and you guys are still like, you want to see Phoenix versus Vikingo? And I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds fun. You guys fucking Men in Black flash me, and I'm like, oh! Do you guys do the exact same thing next week?
Little does he know is really happening.
There's also going to be Pentagon Jr. Versus Viano 4 and a mask versus mask match. And Viano 4 is the same Viano that was on Monday Night Nitro. Like the dude's had the gimmick, for 30
I was
plus
getting ready to
years.
say, I'm sitting here like, why does that name sound familiar? That makes sense.
Are you going to begrudge a man making a living, Zach?
No,
Unbelievable.
it's great. Like, he's a legend. He's a legend.
Sure. This is the same guy. All right. So, are you guys ready to get to New Japan?
Yeah, we'll talk about New Japan real quick.
Everybody watch it?
Yes, sir.
I watched the last 4 matches, all the title stuff.
That's going to do it for our 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
We're about to talk about New Japan.
This is banned from ringside.
Okay, so yeah, I only watched the last 4 matches too because I'm not going to watch those bullshit 4-on-4 matches, 3-on-3 matches. So, the last 4 matches, Master Wato goes over Ishimori in a non-title match. This was supposed to be Kushita's spot, but Kushita has hand, foot, and mouth disease, and Master Wato took over his spot. And then he goes over Ishimori. Zach, were you surprised?
Yeah, this was a day. What was it, October 10th? And I don't know if I was more surprised
He's heating up.
about Master Wato going over Ishimori, or the fact that I did not have to Master Wato because I got laid twice on that day. I don't know which one I was surprised more about. As a married man of 15 years.
Unprofessional bullshit.
I was about to say, hey man, yell at him. We talk about me being horny. Yell at him. He get to rub that shit in my face
The
twice.
horniest motherfuckers I know.
Hey man,
Both you guys.
Hey, was it good?
No.
Bullshit.
Oh, no. Okay, so.
Yeah, the match is okay.
Yeah, the match is okay. I'll just say this. For the guy that watched the whole show, this was just a running theme.
Here he is.
It was a running show. It was a running
New
theme
Japan's only
of
fan.
guys that
Here we
was
go.
lost. The champions lost to set up matches down the line. Okay.
Okay, thanks for explaining it to me.
Yeah, well, you're welcome, motherfucker.
I didn't know what was going on.
So
Every
if you
person
know
in the
watch.
audience is Jason Photoshop 2,000 times.
And when the empty seats like, no, I'm sorry, Reba. No, I'm just serious. I'm just being serious for 30 seconds. That was the running theme, and this was just a part of the theme.
Yeah, I watched the match. He did too.
Okay.
Yeah, we both get it.
So now we get a fucking fatal 4-way
So
out
you don't
of
have
this
to
shit.
explain it to us. You're acting like we're idiots.
Then it shouldn't have been a surprise that Wato won. That was the fucking start of his response.
All right, we had
idiot.
Shingo. How dare you? We have Shingo Takagi versus ELP in a "You're My Daddy" match.
Who's your
Call me
daddy?
daddy. Who's your daddy match? Okay.
Who's your daddy man?
So this is some real sports entertainment bullshit. However, I did happen to pause the match today because I was going to take a piss right when Shingo was pointing at the crowd, right when Shingo was pointing at the camera, being like, you know, where he does this thing. Yeah, it's so good. Shingo goes over. ELP says it. What do you think, Jason?
As a non-fan of the KOPW title / gimmick, I would have to honestly say this was kind of funny just to have ELP, or dare I say Shingo, having to say, you know, Shingo's my daddy / ELP's my daddy. The match itself is good. Post-match, obviously, ELP has to say that Shingo's my daddy, but the low blow does happen. He breaks the KOPW trophy. So this feud looks like it's going to go on. I have no problem with that. Like I said, the match itself is good. I'm just, not a fan of the KOPW gimmick. That's all.
match ruled, and the best part about it is that it's happening again.
Yeah,
They're
I was
getting
going to
another
say, the way they ended this Joker, it's going to happen one more time, and I don't have a problem with
After the match was a little weird. The pacifier stuff was a little weird.
Yeah.
But pro wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. That was
the wrestling was so good.
I think ELP kind of established himself a little more, especially going against Shingo, who I feel like is like one of the legitimate heavyweights that's not named, Okada, Tanahashi, Jonah, these guys. Shingo's that next big, heavyweight, obviously the enforcer of LIJ. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with ELP hanging with Shingo at this
ELP was junior, and he had a really good G1, and now he's wrestling Shingo. It seems like ELP.
Well, he's graduating.
Yes, he is up.
Yeah.
He's on the main roster now,
essentially for New Japan.
Yeah, and he's a very fun, very cool wrestler that can do comedy if he has to, which you have to do in Japan sometimes. And he's really good at it, and I'm really happy for him because I think he fucking rules.
No, if there was
he can do anything.
If there was the Intercontinental title back in New Japan, I would have him right in that mix.
All right, let's talk about the biggest upset of the week.
Real quick, before we get into that upset, because that's going to ruffle some feathers.
That ain't going to ruffle no feathers.
I'm just joking. This match made me want to see Shingo versus the Lionheart. That's what I want at Wrestle Kingdom.
Chris Jericho, Lionheart?
Yeah. That's what I want, because we've seen a bunch of other stuff. We've seen him Painmaker. We've seen him against Naito. We've seen him against all, Tanahashi, all these guys. I want to see him face Shingo.
Yeah, you're kind of getting me worked up for it now. Now I'm just thinking about it. It's like, yeah, that would be good. That would almost like make Shingo also.
It'd be perfect.
I'm sure
it would really make Shingo. And Shingo.
He's a made guy, but
I don't know if he's a made guy. He had a great title run,
former world champion,
but it was the pandemic run though.
Yeah,
it's like I want to see him.
Evil.
Okay, let's talk about Jonah Okada. Zach, I'll let you go first.
I think that Jonah is an absolutely fantastic Okada opponent. I think he's in like the top 5 of, or maybe not right this moment, but he will be if he continues in New Japan. He'll be like a top 5 like Okada opponent because he's so good. He's athletic. It allows Okada to be the pure babyface that he is by overcoming the obstacle, and also Jonah could be the monster that he is and throw him around. So good. And I love that Okada overcame. I loved even more Jay White's press conference discussion about how it should have been for the briefcase, just because, Okada didn't have anything to worry about. He was able to overcome the obstacle because he wasn't nervous because he knew he was still going to main event Wrestle Kingdom. But, yeah, fantastic match. These guys should wrestle more often.
Jonah's this year's Jeff Cobb, and that's not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because they built them both up through the G1. They made them look both strong against arguably the best wrestler in the world, and I think there's both positive things for them moving forward. Once again, I'm going to beat a dead horse. The IC title would be great for either Cobb or Jonah, neither here nor there. Jonah does not look bad in the loss. He looks arguably better than he did coming into the match itself. So in this scenario, you knew what was going to happen. Like we said last week, it would be borderline impossible to take Okada and Jay White away, and they didn't do it, obviously. But, the match itself, it made Jonah look like if we could go back to see what Bad Luck Fale versus Okada looked like, this would probably be the closest thing we could see to it.
There's something you just said there that kind of fucked me up because I was a big fan of this match. I was completely into it. I thought that because Okada was not putting up the G1 championship that there was a chance that Jonah would win, and maybe they were telling the story that Jonah had Okada's number,
Yeah.
And then you said, well, Jonah is this year's Jeff Cobb. And then I thought about it for a second, and I thought, man, he is nowhere near as good as Jeff Cobb. And
I wasn't meant. I'm not
I
talking
know,
talent-wise.
I know that's not what you meant.
Okay.
But in my head, I was like, fuck, this guy isn't nearly as good as Jeff Cobb. And maybe that's a bias because I've known Jeff Cobb longer. I was a big fan of this match while I was watching it, and I was kind of surprised that Okada won. But Jonah is no Jeff Cobb, and Okada shouldn't be losing to Jonah. That's what makes it an upset. When it happened in the G1, I just shot myself into a work.
See, I'm gonna be the adult here. Just let that one ride. Because no, I'm starting to do the math in my head. I'm just like, no, you're not going to do this. This is the Bailey trap, Jason, and you see it. Just walk around. It's okay. No, it's fine. Like I said,
Okay.
The booking is where I'm talking about. I'm not talking about talent for talent.
So, yeah, Joey was here earlier. So, we had Jay White versus Tama Tonga for the belt. Did any of these, first of all, did you know who was going to win before you watch it, or did you watch it fresh?
I watched it fresh.
Zach?
I knew.
I watched it fresh also. Jason, did any of the near falls get you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zach, even if you knew who was winning, do you think a couple of it's so hard to judge. Do you think any of those near falls would have gotten you? A couple of them got me.
Yeah.
The gun stun was a great near fall.
That was the one.
The gun stun where White was being cocky.
Yeah.
And like walked into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one where I was like, oh, no.
Me too.
I should
No,
say,
but were
oh,
you
no.
rooting against it?
No.
Or were you rooting for Tama Tonga? Who are you rooting for?
I want to see Jay White versus Okada. I get if you went with Tama Tonga versus Okada, it makes storyline sense. I totally get it.
But don't you ever just get into like the one match you're like, I just want that. Like, I know that Jay White versus Okada is the thing, but like you're watching Tama Tonga. He's such a great singles babyface wrestler, right?
The next never
Zach,
openweight champion.
you're with me, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, weren't you just kind of rooting for him super hard?
Knowing what I know now, like I just said, I think it'll be him or Tanahashi will be the next never openweight champion. From that point,
Will Tama Tonga ever win the New Japan Pro Wrestling heavyweight title, Zach?
No.
Jason?
no.
Yeah, it's no.
As long as there's other guys around now.
Great O'Khan?
No.
No.
Never really. Okay, I'll say yes to Great O'Khan.
Wow.
I just
Zack Sabre
I'd
Jr.
I'd put him over Great O'Khan.
Gokhan, yeah, that was going to say.
No way. Great O'Khan will hold the heavyweight belt before Zack Sabre Jr.
I would put Rinda Rita over Great O'Khan.
Okay, easy, big fella.
Nah, that's-
easy,
yeah,
big
but
fella. Calm
don't do-
down.
don't do
Calm
that.
down.
Oh, don't do that.
Let him win
Okay.
the World TV
Okay.
Championship
Yeah,
first.
like-
Time chamber.
you
Time
went
chamber.
too far. You went too far. All right. So
come-
did you guys
come off the ledge.
Did you guys? Because Jay White, Tama Tonga was 30 minutes, 31 minutes.
No problem with it.
Seemed a little too long, right?
No.
No.
Nah, it's a New Japan main event. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
You always
Okay.
expect 30 minutes.
Pretty good event. Give it a B minus.
Yeah, that feels about right.
That's gonna do it for our 3 count. Or did I do that?
Yes,
I
you
already
did.
that. Yeah.
This is banned from ringside.
Shit, I had to think about it.
Did you guys watch NXT?
I did not, but I did see that Sonya Deville
Jason,
jumped a
why are
old
you
girl.
why are you fighting it though?
Well, it's just not enough for me to
Why are you
invest my 2 hours.
Why are you fighting NXT though?
It's
like,
not.
you-
I just answered the question.
You spend hours and hours watching wrestling.
Agreed.
Why do you not watch NXT?
It's not enough for me to invest 2 hours where I could be watching something else for 2 hours that I really enjoy.
I mean, that is, I just don't believe that at all. Like, I don't believe it.
Why would I lie?
That's a great question.
Of all the things to lie about in the world, Why would I lie about the fact that I would rather
I have
watch
a great therapist. She is calling you on Monday. So, Zach, did you watch Grayson Waller versus Ilya? And then Braun Breaker came out and he speared Dragunov?
Intentionally?
No, I've had
Oh, yeah. Speared the fuck out of him.
very busy week. I didn't get to watch any NXT.
That's fine. Grayson Waller fucking rules. Braun Breaker rules. Dragunov fucking rules. JD McDonough, he got me too. So I guess I can't root for him. But yeah, he sucks too.
This is banned from Ringside.
Hey guys, we got some birthdays this week. Nikolai Volkov. Jason.
Canadian.
Yes, Canadian. I'm going with Canadian.
75.
I know he's still alive.
Miss Hancock, a.k.a. Stacy Kleebler, a.k.a. Mrs. George Clooney.
She's one of the hottest.
One of the hottest.
They're married?
They were for a little while.
They were, yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought he married some other chick.
She's my age. Born in 79. She's 43.
Look at her.
Tama Tonga, the aforementioned. He's 40. Just incredible.
Canadian.
Last seen on the plane ride from hell, Dark Side of the Ring.
That's right.
He's
Totally
49.
forgot about that.
Oh, he's all over it.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Kenny Omega. This week, 39.
Let's say I'm going with Canadian with that as well.
Simon Gotch, friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
He's 40.
God bless that dude. He can talk.
Yeah, he was fun. Tony Storm. You want to guess? You fucking pervert. You fucking pervert. Go ahead and guess.
29.
26.
27. Hey, everybody. We know there's lots of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to ours. For Vice.
Check.
For Tinder Mahal. For Joey O'Farrell. For
Check.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Double
at
check.
Pops. For Murray the Merman Murray. For
Check.
Lucha Chris.
Check.
For Patriot Pat.
Check.
For Reba the Dog.
Check.
For Millie the Cat.
Check.
For Xander the Cat.
Check.
For Edna the Baby.
Check.
For Aaron the Wife.
Check.
For Two Beer Zach Pullman.
Double check.
For Jason Cornelius Bell. Did I forget
Konnichiwa,
anybody?
bitches. No, you are on money.
Support your local
Check.
drug dealers. Black Lives
Check.
Matter and boo the heels.